Yeah, yeah.
Peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another sa.neter TV, House of Consciousness production. Welcome to the HOK sa.neter TV. Family, as y'all come in, please hit that like button. It don't cost you nothing. Just hit the like button. All right. I'm waiting on my guest to come through. My man sa.neter hit me up today and said, sa.neter, I'm ready to go. I said, all right, load up the ammunition and let's get it. And so the brother will be here in a minute. I just spoke to him. And let's just wait for him. What's going on, though, everybody? What's happening? How y'all doing out there? I just got me a new motorbike. I bought me a nice little motorbike. You know, riding around today, city, cruising on my little scooter bike. Nice, fast. Nice and fast, y'all. Nice and fast. Oh, man, the weather was crazy today. It's still hot and muggy. Is it hot and muggy where y'all at? It's just hot and muggy, man. Yeah. Q, what it is, man? What's going on, Cube? Q, what up? Man, let me stop playing. It's a goddamn e-bike, y'all. Come on, man. You know I ain't riding no motorcycle. It's a nice big e-bike, though. That joint goes 60 to 70 miles. It's an e-bike. It's bad. It's one of those big boys. 60 to 70 miles. It's good. You know? I could ride from here to Brooklyn and back. It's cool. Still have battery life left. Comes with two batteries on the joint. Look it up. 2 batteries. And a back seat where you can have somebody on it. You know, it's nice. It's nice. In the city, sometimes you can't ride your car all the goddamn time because you can't get parking. So you just throw that joint on the back and head on out. But anyway, we're waiting on the sa.neter. Let me call my brother up. See what time he coming in. He should be ready. sa.neter getting ready to get it in. So, what do you think of the Knicks' new coach? I'm loving it. I'm loving the Knicks' new coach. We need to change. Phoenix, we need to change. And I'm loving the new addition that we got with the players. You know, so we got some real good players. Our bench is deep now.
Greetings, you reached.
Yeah, our bench is deep now in New York. Woo! If we had these players in New York, I think we would have went to the finals. So we got a real deep bench now. You know, big guys coming off the bench that can shoot threes. You know, SGA, yeah, all right. Yeah. Anybody would like to come in and talk about it? Hey, you know what? One thing I found out, if you type in sa.neter in the Paul name, you'll see a lot come up. That's why I know these people be faking. Stop listening to them when they tell you that they care about the children and the babies. No, they don't. They do not care about that. They pick and choose because they jealous of certain people. So they attack certain people because you can look and see, God damn, where's the videos at for Solomon? Where's the same energy that these suckers had for Polite? Where's that same energy that they have for me? You don't see that, y'all. Y'all don't see it. It's like everything is quiet on that end right there. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy for the people who say they really care about the babies and the youth. That's crap. You know what I'm saying, Cube? That's why y'all shouldn't go for that, man. Stop going for every goddamn thing. Don't fall for that, man. Them niggas just hate who they want to hate and go after who they want to go after. without any further ado, I bring to you my brother Ausar M. What up, Ausar?
What's up, y'all? I'm the top. My
What's
big
happening,
brother
man? Are you ready for this?
share the platform.
The pseudo killers might be watching.
I hope they are.
So
I
be
hope they
careful,
take note.
brother. Whenever
And
you talking about this evolution stuff, they be in the bushes, man.
hiding, creeping through the hood. Last time they popped up, I had to go to their channel.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
ain't coming to this channel like you
yeah.
supposed to.
Right, like they
That's what
supposed.
you learned.
Yeah, man, no doubt.
Man,
I
so
see
today,
YouTube is taking their time on sending out my subscribers
yeah,
notification.
I
You
was
know, it's
looking
a damn
for it.
shame the way they doing me, man.
I was looking for it. It didn't pop up. So
Hmm.
I typed yours in like 3 times. It
Yeah,
finally
see?
popped up. He was talking. I'm like, so
Yeah, they hiding my stuff, man. They
mhm.
hiding it. Let me tell you what I did today. I went on a video, and the video said 799. That was the Puff Daddy video. So I went on another computer in the room, clicked on the video, and guess what happened, Asar?
What happened?
It was still on 799. So they
Ain't
manipulating the
even hit
views. They
800
doing
yet.
all of that. And I stopped it and then I went off, clicked it again. It was still on 799. Don't it supposed to go up one? Supposed to go
Supposed
up
to go up
one.
one.
Every time it's being clicked, it goes up one. And it was still on 799, brother. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
damn, look
crazy.
how they doing me, man. Manipulating. So I know it's way more than that. By me doing that, I know it's way more views than that. But they only put them few there because that's what they want the people to see. Ain't nobody interested in that. Nobody care about that. Yeah. They want to discourage me. But anyway, let's get it in, man. Talk to us, man. Let's go.
Man, let me share my screen for the people, and let me we start to get the setup going because the here's what's going on, y'all. Y'all hearing parts of evolution, and then you're hearing conflated issues in evolution, and you're also hearing some non-truths about the evolution, and you're also getting some old ideas that have been debunked. So certain things are not fully adding up. And then you'll get people talking about the issue because you learned it from a particular source. And that's how we know you have the holes in your game in the first place, because there's certain things that are said that you're trying to make live that aren't true. And so we need to get to those things. Size my screen sharing yet? There we go.
Your screen is up and running, brother.
Okay. So let's start to talk about some of those things. Let me close this door real quick. Give me just a second, y'all. I'm just going to disappear from the screen real fast. I'll be right there. I just want to close this door. I got the little ones in the building. And their grandma going to be screaming at them. So let's begin at the beginning so we can get evolution from its beginning and what we really know. Uh, Number one, unraveling the scientific nuances, why evolution is considered a theory and not a law. So there are laws in science and there are theories in science. So the other day you heard me say evolution is still a theory. You heard a couple people say that, and then no, man, evolution is, this is the case. This is the, not necessarily. Let's see the difference real quick. Understanding scientific theories, because y'all hear that thrown around all the time. Theories are well substantiated explanations of some aspect of the natural world based on empirical evidence and repeatedly tested and confirmed through experimentation and observation. They are not more. Hold on, y'all. Gentlemen, I'm going to need you to step into the other room. Hold on 1 second. Let me grab my little ones real quick.
Ausar, you there? Ausar?
All right, here we go.
Okay, you was there. All right.
Yeah, I had to get the little ones out. I put myself on mute real quick.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, they try to run the house on occasion. All right, let's go back to it. So we were at the theory. Scientific theories are well substantiated explanations of some aspect of your natural world. That means something happened in the natural world and it's recordable and we see it over and over again. So it's empirical. The evidence there is empirical. We know it's going to happen and repeatedly tested and confirmed through experimentation and observation. They are not mere conjectures or guesses, but are rooted in factual information and provided broad explanations for a wide range of phenomena. So somebody lied on me the other day. They said, I don't believe in evolution. Last time I checked, I was pushing evolution before that side was even talking about anything scientific. They was just atheists. And before they was atheists, they was black power, but they wasn't talking about no scientific stuff last time I remember. When we go back past 2008. So evolution has never been my issue. The type of evolution that is promoted has been my issue, and we'll get there in a few moments. Let's look at a few things. The concept of evolution. The theory of evolution as we understand it today was first proposed by Charles Darwin in the mid-19th century. His seminal work on the origin of species laid the foundation for evolutionary biology. It was a good start, absolutely. Why evolution is a theory and not a law. This is important. The theory of evolution is based on a multitude of facts gathered from various scientific disciplines. These facts, such as existence of transitional fossils, which we don't really have, the genetic similarities among species, and the geographic distribution of organisms collectively support.
Hey, can you increase the fonts a little bit so the people can see it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and be careful because the pseudo killers is in the building, so be careful what you say, brother. Make sure everything is correct because they watching. So
I want them to be because
we don't want them to get you later, brother.
see, now y'all can't cut me off. Now you got to deal with what's happening. Why evolution is not a law. You hear them always quoting that style like it's a law. No, evolution is not a law because it's a theory. It's a hypothesis.
And so you're saying it changes all the time, so it can't be a law because it changes.
Can't be.
Okay.
It can't be. And we're going to get into those nuances here shortly. The absence of universality in evolution. Unlike laws which are universally applicable, the theory of evolution is not. Evolution does not occur at the same rate or in the same manner in all species. It is influenced by a variety of factors, including genetic variation, environmental conditions, and chance events. So when we tell you that the environment influences something and it ain't got nothing to do with the environment, you know that they're not scientific. They're just article hunters. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't. And this is why we're having this discussion today. The descriptive nature of laws versus the explanatory nature of theories. This is why evolution is good, is because it explains what's happening in nature, but it's not a law because that explanation can sometimes change when new information is presented or the lack of information is presented. We'll read it. Why laws describe what happens. Theories explain why it happens. Laws describe what happens. Theories explain why it happens. That's the guess. We think it happens because of this. We know it happens because we see it, so we can describe what we see happening. We think it happens because of this. That is just a thought. I think this is why. Your thought is not always the case or right. The theory of evolution does not merely describe the change observed in species over time, it explains the mechanisms driving these changes. That's why evolution is a good theory. Now we got to get to the holes in it. The particular holes in this particular evolution method are what we're going to get to. Now, let's look at something real quick. This is science focus. Evolution is most certainly a theory, but certainly not just a theory. We're going to do a bit of readership here today because it's necessary. And then I'm going to throw some questions at you as we do it.
And let me ask you before you go into that. Do you support evolution? Do you believe in evolution, though, Ausar, or are you going against evolution?
No, I support evolution.
Okay.
I just don't suggest that divergent evolution is the method that humans came into existence, which is why the other day I had to mention the parallel and the convergent.
All right. And
when we seen if Ankh knew about the parallel or the convergent, we seen some slip-ups. we started to see a few holes in his explanations. And so we covered that on his show and on that show, and we're covering more now. So if you think divergent is the one that sounds good, we're going to talk about the holes in it in a minute, right? Despite this, or let's get to it. Evolution is perhaps the greatest of all the great ideas. It has proved to be the most powerful lens we have with which to view life. Through its inescapable logic, we have developed an even more sophisticated understanding of the why and how of biology. Let me blow this up bigger for me and you. Despite this, or perhaps because of it, considerable confusion exists over some very fundamental aspects of evolution. In some cases, that confusion is not helped by the language that we use to describe evolution and related processes. The word itself, evolution, is a very good example of what I mean. Let's go down a little bit. For biologists, evolution is a change in gene frequency over time. Nothing more, nothing less. It's a change in the gene frequency over time. Evolution in biological sense is an explicitly genetic process. The changes in gene frequency over time that define it are caused by the driving forces of selection, of which natural selection is best known, but also sexual, kin, and artificial selection, or by process like genetic drift. Microevolution, like the evolution of antibiotic resistance in some bacteria, and macroevolution, resulting in the evolution of new species, both come under the umbrella of the biological definition of evolution. And I suggest a micro or macroevolution takes place in our biological course, which is why we don't seem to find this suggestive fossil, this transitional fossil, where a man goes to an ape, or since we're classified as apes, where a gorilla turns into a man, or where a chimpanzee turns into a man, or the mating and crossbreeding of different types of different creatures creates another one. It doesn't seem to happen. It doesn't seem to happen. And we're gonna get into some of that here shortly. So let's look at the types real quick. Convergent evolution definition, causes, and examples versus divergent. Evolution gives the meaning of gradual changes observed in an organism over which diagnostic characteristics to them, resulting in their proper adaptation to the environment. In other words, your environment starts to shape the way you look, to simplify it. These changes can be genetic and phenotypic as well. Evolution leads to different genre within a class of organisms and different species within a genus. So the organisms can have similar origins, or similar characteristics based on the structure and function of their body parts. So when I tell you that we're in the same locality of the biological genre that creates other apes, such as a chimp, such as a gorilla, such as a monkey, this is the case. We're in that whatever made them is what we come from as well. The question is, did this one have sex with this one in order to make a human, or did they just simply evolve later over time on their own from that same substance? And that's what we're going to get to. They claim it's divergent evolution. And divergent evolution states this, and this is where they get embarrassed. Evolution refers to the series of gradual changes that can be observed in an organism from ancestors to predecessors in a longer period, which can be genetic or phenotypic. Evolution based on ancestors or origin and development of different structural and functional characters or traits can be divided into three main types: convergent, divergent, and parallel. So to simplify this paragraph here, your parents had physical intercourse, and then they had you, and then you had your grandchildren, and you guys all tend to look alike. But say you have sex with someone outside of our 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 phenotype, meaning you have sex with an Asian, because if you're black, or you had sex with somebody who's European or Arab or whatever the case, then you're going to start to see different traits come into play. Your characteristics will change, and they'll divide into three main reasons. Convergent, you may have a different origin than you know that particular person, so you start to see things in the convergent method. Divergent, obviously you already had a common ancestor, you're both humans. And parallel, you're growing up in the same neighborhoods, but your faces seem different because you grew up over here, he grew up over here. It was a little more windy over here. His eyes went like this, your eyes went like that. It was more sun when he was darker, when he was lighter, etc., etc., etc. Now, let's cover this real quick, and then we're going to get into the differences, because it's time that we start to discuss the differences and why. Homology and analogy, a lesson in biology. Homology is basically what I described when you have two divergent situations, meaning that you have two humans that had sex from different cultures. We'll just call them cultures, or races, if you will. Races doesn't really exist, but cultures, meaning this is an Asiatic culture and this is an African culture or European, and they mix together. And so you start to see different traits within them. The analogy means that two creatures have similar features, such as cats have legs, humans have legs, and birds have legs. In this case, this is an arm. You see it has a humerus, radius, ulna, carpals and metacarpals and phalanges. The cat has the same thing. The whale has something similar in his fin, and the bat has something similar in his wing. Bat to a bird. These are analogous because they're different looking with the same function. That's convergent evolution. Homology, they look similar and they usually have the same function. So we can simplify things for the people. Now, here goes the test for you right here. These animals look alike but are unrelated. And this is important because we're going to get into this and you're going to see what's going on. This one has a common ancestor, the loris and the cuscus. And you really can't tell them apart, except for this one on the right side, it has an opposable thumb. and it's really a glorified possum. It comes from that family. They have a common ancestor. Guess what, though? This armadillo and this pangolin are not from the same family, but you would think so. And scientists have made that mistake in the past. So for a very long time, scientists thought pangolins were related to the anteaters and armadillos. And who can blame them? Exactly, because they look alike. That's why they call it lookership, because they do look alike, but they're not. In fact, armadillos and pangolins have a very similar build, complete with armor plating, a long snout, and even longer tongue, and fearsome claws that allow them to burrow in the anthills and termite mounds. Surprisingly, not only are the two animals not related, the pangolin is actually more closely related to carnivores such as lions and wolves. This is more related to a lion and wolf than this, and they don't have a common ancestor, but most people from the eye test would persist. The hyena and the canine. Hyenas are more closely related to cats. And so this is what happens when we do the lookership. Sometimes we mess it up. And then we really have to get into the biology of things. Look, hyenas are predatory pack animals that run on four, can't climb, and have a tendency to yip. Because of that, many people are under the misguided assumption that hyenas are canines. While hyenas, dogs, and wolves all belong to the order of Carnivora, hyenas are actually more closely related to cats and mongooses. And these two do have a common ancestor, supposedly, but that lived around 40 million years ago. Supposedly. And this is because we don't see that one creature can make a different kind of creature, and we got to get into the fossil record. We're going to show this one real quick as well, and then we're going to move to the next step in this. Hyraxes are small herbivorous mammals that live in Africa and the Middle East and are very similar in appearance to rodents, particularly marmots and groundhogs. But hyraxes are not rodents. And stranger than that, their closest living relatives are elephants. Not this groundhog. This is more closely related to the elephant on the left, not the groundhog. This is why a lot of times they call divergent evolution lookership, because people don't know what they're talking about. Let's go to the humanity real quick. Now, they was laughing at this until I pulled up Dr. Ivanov. And when I pulled up Dr. Ivanov, it got quiet. Because I asked them the other day on the Pseudo Killer show, I said, yo, produce the humanity that y'all be talking about. Oh, he doesn't know. No, I know, Goofy. The problem is you don't know. You don't know what science has done because they don't really study science. They're article hunters. Look, while it's theoretically possible to create a hybrid or chimera combining a human and a chimpanzee in a laboratory, such a hybrid is likely to be fabricated rather than real. This humanity thing, right? And we go to the humanity because of this. Look at this evolutionary tree. You know what that is right there? This orange, yellowish, black face right here.
What is it? What is it?
This is Australopithecus. But when you ask them, is there a humanity, they say no. This is Australopithecus. This is part of that tree. Here go another Australopithecus. Here go a Homo habilis. Now, when you ask them, are you saying we come from monkeys? No, we don't come. See, we are monkeys. No, we're a type of ape. But we're not this. This is why we can't mate with them. And this is why when I said there is not going to be a humanity ever popping up, so stop showing that goofy evolutionary tree, they have a heart attack. What is that? What is this? Homo Homo ergaster? Is that him? Is that Homo erectus right there? Homo antecessor? They just should have said Homo ancestor. That's what they was trying to say. Here go Homo sapien right here. He looked like a black Billy Crystal. And here go your Homo neanderthalis. Now the Neanderthal, we think that existed. These other ones, we just think they're apes. They're just apes. And that's the timeline right below them. So let's go a little further into this real quick. Let me see. Yeah. This is David Attenborough. And when you talk about evolution, you're talking about the origin of these creations, the origin of human beings. So they proposed a long time ago, not even that long ago. The sister Elena, little European lady, she just did a show about 3 years ago. I was watching it. Elena Davis or something. I think, matter of fact, her name is in here. We'll see it. She wrote the book on these aquatic apes. But we're not aquatic apes. Let's break down why. The hypothesis, hold up. Sir David Attenborough, in his recent BBC Radio 4 series, The Waterside Ape, he's bringing back something that's been debunked. Occasionally in science, there are theories that refuse to die despite the overwhelming evidence against them. The aquatic ape hypothesis is one of these, now championed by Sir David Attenborough of BBC. Why is he still bringing this up? It's dead. We're going to touch on a few of the features why it's dead, so you can stop trying to bring this up. Stop trying to come with this. See, when people do this, they say stuff like, trout had a common ancestor. What you're doing is taking a theory of all things and trying to put it into the evolutionary framework. And this is where you fail. And the reason you fail is because that theory is not substantiated by the fossil record at all. And when I ask you questions like, show us the trout that became a human, you can't do it. And you don't have a transitional fossil to show it. And you don't have the chemistry to back it. And you do not have the math to back it. So stop lying with that type of story. That's been debunked also. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's go. The hypothesis suggests that everything from walking upright to our lack of hair, from holding our breath to eating shellfish, could be because of an aquatic phase in our ancestry. Since the theory was first suggested more than 55 years ago, huge advances have been made in the study of human evolution, and our story is much more interesting and complicated than suggested by the catch-all aquatic ape hypothesis. So stop using that. It happened in the 60s with Alistair Hardy when he published an article in New Scientist titled, "Was Man More Aquatic in His Past?" He retold the familiar tale of the evolution of land animals from ancient fish, and then considered the return of various groups of reptiles, birds, and mammals to an aquatic existence. And we covered this, the Ichthyosaurus, the Plesiosaurus, which are basically aquatic looking sharks, supposedly, based off of some type of skeletal remake. Crocodiles, sea snakes, penguins, whales, dolphins, and porpoises, and manatees, and dugongs, and seals. Now, if I take you to the manatee and the porpoise and the dolphin and the seal, the manatee and the seal are different than each other. They just supposedly have an ancestor in common. Not only that, they say one of them is more related to the elephant, which is why it has long tusks. And we can revisit that over here in this article here, when we pop up just a little bit, even the woodlice and pill millipedes, they go to walrus and the manatee. Manatees and walrus are both massive whiskered marine mammals, so it's not surprising that many mistakenly believe manatees and dugongs are related to walruses and other pinnipeds, seals, and sea lions. The truth is, manatees, too, are more closely related to elephants and are strictly herbivorous, while walruses and carnivores are carnivores and related to otters and beavers. This is why they call it lookership. In case you've ever used one of these and didn't know why they called it lookership, this is the reason why. And so let's get back to our article over here. What's up, Mamai? Close the door for me. Thank you. Now let's come back over here. Hardy put forward all sorts of features which could be explained as aquatic adaptations, our swimming ability and our enjoyment of it, loss of body hair, as well as an arrangement of body hair that he supposed may have reduced resistance in the water, curvy bodies, and the layer of fat under our skin. He even suggested that our ability to walk upright may have developed through wading in the water, with the water helping to support our body weight. This aquatic phase would have occupied the gap in the fossil record that then existed between around 4 meters or 4 million years and 7 million years ago. He sensibly concluded his paper saying that this was all only speculation. This is why is the difference between a law and a theory. Everything he said is speculation. You don't have or know if it's true. A hypothesis to be discussed and tested against further lines of evidence. Let's go to that further evidence. Where is it at? Right here. Pouring cold water on it. All the suggested anatomical and physiological adaptations can be explained by other hypotheses. That means your hypothesis isn't the only one on the market, and it's not always the best one. This is how his aquatic ape fell apart, which fit much better with what we actually know about the ecology of ancient hominins. Hairlessness, for instance, is only a feature of fully aquatic mammals such as whales and dolphins. He fell apart there. Semi-aquatic mammals such as otters and water voles are extremely furry. Sexual selection and adaptations to heat loss better explain our pattern of body hair. He fell apart there. Sexual selection may also explain our body fat distribution, which differs between the sexes. Voluntary breath control is more likely to be related to speech than to diving. And you can even hear that in just having a panel discussion with our brother Apostle, my brother sa.neter, me, Unc, and a couple other people, Napa. You hear us all breathe, sound different, and deliver differently because of our ages and the way that we speak. The diet of many of our ancestors certainly include marine resources where people lived on the shores of lakes or the sea, but this was a relatively late development in human evolution, and humans can also survive and thrive on food obtained entirely on land. We don't need carp to set us apart. Compared with other animals, we are not actually that good at swimming, and our skin tends to leak, letting in water so our fingers become prune-like after a long bath. And all of you have seen that happen to yourselves before. Yeah, they get out the bath and them fingers be crazy, huh? Yeah. What about walking on two legs? That's something all apes do a bit of, while wading in water, certainly, but also while reaching for fruit. performing aggressive displays, or simply moving around in trees. We even see leopards hop up on a tree. What do? It look like you climbing. They use their arms to grip and they use their feet to push up. That ain't in the paper. If we evolved from ancestors who already stood up in trees, we don't need an extraordinary explanation for why we ended up standing on the ground rather than running around on all fours like gorillas. And look, throw it up. She over here throwing it up for y'all. So even with the 13 new species that have been found in 80 since 87, we have also made great strides in reconstructing the environment in which our ancestors lived in. And we don't need this aquatic water ape business in order to explain it. So they fall apart there. And we looked at the reasons why. Now we're going to get more in depth. This was the humanity. This is that humanity that they was asking for. The Russian government once funded a scientist's quest to make an ape-human hybrid. Where, Ausar, where's the humanity at? Here go the humanity right here, Unc, in case you missed it, Playboy. Huh? I thought you was into science like that, fellas. Huh, Cedric? Gilligan? You didn't know? Let's talk about it. This is a very short. Oh, look at that. That's all we got to go. A very senior chimpanzee photo. In 26, less than a decade after the Russians' revolution, Russia's Bolshevik Party, which went on to become the Communist part of the. Stop. Hold on one sec, y'all. Put that over here now. Now. Do I need to pop that booty? Bring it over here, please. And get it from around your neck. Y'all know how kids are. Put it over here, baby. I don't want to hear. Put it over here. That works. Leave it there. Do not bring it next to that fan. All right. Let's get it on. So here we go. Ilya Ivanov, an expert in artificial insemination, a man hell-bent on breeding a creature that was half man, half ape, knew how to take advantage of that political push. Stephanie Payne wrote in New Scientist a few years ago. Ivanov pitched his pet project to the Russian Academy of Sciences as a way to prove Darwin right. So he's in your corner, Unc. Y'all laugh at the humanity, but he was in your corner and strike a blow against religion. Supported and financed by the Bolshevik government, Ivanov set off for Africa to catch some chimpanzees and orangutans, and he hoped to use one to artificially inseminate a human woman. Let's go down. If he crossed an ape and a human and produced viable offspring, then that would mean Darwin was right about how closely related we are, says Etkind. Originally, Ivanov wanted to force the procedure on an unsuspecting woman. He's raggedy. Eventually, he had to seek volunteers. This is called the macabre experiment, by the way, in case you guys don't know. According to Payne, Russian scientists disapproved of Ivanov's quest, but party politics preserved. Ivanov's quest for hybridization was not without precedent. Using his mastery of artificial insemination, he had produced a zedonk, which is a zebra-donkey hybrid, a zubron, a European bison-cow cross, and various combinations of rats, mice, guinea pigs, and rabbits. So he's doing this with certain things. Should have been able to do it with the human too. In 1910, he told a gathering of zoologists that it might even be possible to create hybrids between humans and their closest relatives. Though the guise of overturning religion was the argument that earned approval for Ivanov, ethically dubious research, Payne suggests that the real reason compelling the work may have been even darker. We don't care about his motives right now. One way to do that was through positive eugenics, using AI to speed up the spread of desirable traits, a willingness to live and work community, for instance, and to get rid of primitive traits such as competitiveness, greed, and the desire to own property. There were many projects aimed at changing humanity, Etkind says. Ivanov was the most extreme, but if he succeeded, then that would show that humans could be changed in radical and creative ways. Unfortunately for Ivanov, none of the experiments ever worked. They never worked. They didn't work. Crossbreeding is not going to happen. And in the mid 1930s, he was exiled to Kazakhstan with the quest for a human-ape hybrid left unfinished. He couldn't get it done. The reason he couldn't get it done, we're about to get into. Why? 15 differences between Homo erectus and Homo sapien. And you'll see what the scientists say in just a moment. But let's look at the difference. See, here go that humanity right here. Every time y'all sow this evolutionary tree, it's painstakingly a problem for you because you have no transitional fossils. You have no chemistry that shows that this took place. And you don't have mathematics on your side. The suggestion would be that we came into existence from the same biological substance, but not through a divergent crossbreeding situation where we have a common ancestor. Let's look at the differences right quick. Let's blow them up for the people. Their body was adapted more efficient bipedal, two-leg mode of locomotion. They had a modern human-like limb proportions with long legs and short arms. That sounds crazy. The cranial base analysis of the Homo erectus skull suggests that they could indeed speak. So that right there in the middle was speaking, supposedly. Homo erectus had a larger brain compared to earlier hominins with an average cranial capacity of around 900 to 1100 cubic centimeters. This suggests an increase in cognitive abilities. Don't this sound like another dubious science that we looked at in ancient Egypt? I'm just saying. They had a low, long, and thick-walled skull with a prominent brow ridge. They had long, modern human-like legs, suggesting an adaptation for efficient bipedal walking and running. You got several differences here that show that you wouldn't be the same. If you're that low to the ground, you're probably using your hands just like this one right here. You're probably running on all fours like a gorilla because you're a gorilla. If you're a gorilla, you're not a human. We need to stop mixing that up. Here goes problems with the situation in the first place. And this is where we're going to start to get into the differences and the why. And in case you want the source on this right here, top 10 scientific problems with biological and chemical evolution. This is the issue right here. Abrupt appearances of species and the fossil record does not support. Let's go right to it. We're going to read 5 and 6. Then we'll open up the lines. The fossil record has long been recognized as a problem for evolutionary theory. In The Origin of Species, Darwin explained that his theory led him to believe that the number of intermediate varieties which have formerly existed on the earth must be truly enormous. However, he recognized that the fossil record did not document these intermediate forms of life, asking, why then is not every geological formation and every stratum full of such intermediate links? So when you guys tell us, oh, see, here's Homo erectus, we're going to get to that in a minute, but that's not a transitional fossil for those who don't know. Me and my brother YZG were talking about that in the chat yesterday, and that's why it's not a transitional fossil, but you think it is. You got to get more in depth into science, gentlemen. Let's go further. Darwin's answer showed the tenuous nature of the evidence backing his ideas. Geology assuredly does not reveal any such finely graduated organic chain. And this, perhaps, is the most obvious and gravest objection which can be urged against my theory. He's right. This is one of them. Today, some 150 years later, out of thousands of species known from the fossil record, only a small fraction are claimed to be candidates for Darwin's intermediate forms. So you had all that time, over 150 years, to dig these up, and you still don't have them. You got small moments of possible success, which we still don't agree with. Let's go further. Fossil evidence of evolutionary intermediates is generally lacking, as the late evolutionary paleontologist Stephen Jay Gould admitted. So Stephen Jay already admitted this. The absence of fossil evidence for intermediary stages between major transitions in organic design, indeed, our inability, even in our imagination, even if you dream, to construct functional intermediates in many cases has been a persistent and a nagging problem for gradualistic accounts of evolution. You can't even dream about the in-between fossil because we always clown the picture that you give us. We know that that doesn't happen and you can't show it. So when we ask you for the in-between mechanism, which would be the transitional fossil, or show us some type of chemical record when this took place, you can't do it. You can't even use the simple problem of math, which is universal in science, to get this done. So quit lying about the information. It's not true. This is why it's a theory and not a law. Let's go further. Darwin attempted to save his theory of gradual evolution by maintaining that intermediate fossils are not found because of the extreme imperfection of the geological record. Even Gould noted that Darwin's argument that the fossil record is imperfect persists as the favored escape of most paleontologists from the embarrassment of a record that seems to show so little of evolution directly. So stop letting them get away with this excuse. You're embarrassed about it, just as he was. It's because it doesn't seem to happen that way. It probably happens more like on this paper here. The frame of new hypothesis of evolution. But we won't touch that right now. We're going to keep going on this right here. Let's go further. Darwin attempted to save his theory of gradual evolution. I think we read that. Yes. Let's go down. Paleontologists today generally recognize that while the fossil record is imperfect, it is still adequate to assess questions about evolution. One study in Nature reported that if scaled to the taxonomic level of the family, the past 540 million years of the fossil record provide uniformly good documentation of the life of the past. Another paper in Paleobiology evaluated our knowledge of the fossil record and concluded that our view of the history of biological diversity is mature. I'll give us that. Paleontologists now increasingly recognize that jumps between species without intermediates are not simply the result of an incomplete record. So you can't fall back on the fossil record not showing transition. You need to start showing transition. Niles Eldridge, an evolutionary paleontologist and curator at the American Museum of Natural History, puts it this way with Ian Tattersall. The record jumps and all the evidence shows that the record is real. The gaps we see reflect real events in life's history, not the artifact of a poor fossil record. This is more excuse making. And watch how this is handled. The conclusion did not come easily, as one scientist who studied under Gould felt the need to implore his colleagues that evolutionary biologists can no longer ignore the fossil record on the ground that it is imperfect. You need to deal with it. You need to show the mechanism. If you cannot, you need to sit down and understand it's a hypothesis and just a theory. Let's go. A pattern of explosions. The eventual realization that the fossil record is not entirely incomplete has forced evolutionary biologists to accept that the record shows a pattern of explosions, not gradual evolution of living organisms. One biology textbook explains this. Many species remain virtually unchanged for millions of years, then suddenly disappear. That's called going extinct, last time I checked, to be replaced by a quite different but related form. Monkeys are still here. Apes and gorillas are still here. Humans are still here. So it didn't happen like that because we're still here and they're still here. But this is in one of the textbooks right now. Moreover, most major groups of animals appear abruptly in the fossil record, fully formed and with no fossils yet discovered that form a transition from their parent group. Probably the most famous instance of abrupt appearance is in the Cambrian explosion, where nearly all of the major living animal phyla appear in the Cambrian period. An invertebrate biology textbook explains this. Let's see what they say. And we're just going to go to number 6. Most of the animal groups that are represented in the fossil record first appear fully formed and identifiable as to their phylum in the Cambrian some 550 million years ago. Life, strength, health, baby. These include such an anatomically complex and distinctive types as trilobites, echinoderms, brachiopods, mollusks, and chordates. The fossil record is therefore of no help with respect to the origin and early diversification of the various animal phyla that they just named. But we're not those. We're humans, and we show a different record. Let's break it down. Evolutionary scientists acknowledge that they cannot explain this rapid appearance of diverse animal body plans by classical Darwin processes. Divergent evolution is not going to work. No, baby, not right now. I know, but that's the prototype. Put that down. When I make the toys, you'll be the first one with it. All right, y'all. So the Darwinian process doesn't help in explaining this. You know why? Because divergent evolution is a theory and not a law. Do I need to say it again? Or other known material mechanisms. Robert Carroll, a paleontologist at McGill University, argues in Trends in Ecology and Evolution that the extreme speed of anatomical change and adaptive radiation during this brief time period requires explanations that go beyond those proposed for the evolution of species within the modern biota. You don't have it. It would be convergent or it would be parallel. It couldn't be divergent. You don't have the records for that. Another paper likewise maintains that the microevolution, this is the book that Ankh was holding up, remember? Macroevolution. Microevolution does not provide a satisfactory explanation for the extraordinary burst of novelty during the Cambrian explosion, and concludes the major evolutionary transitions in animal evolution still remain to be casually explained.
Pappy.
Yes, sir. What's up?
Pappy, knock at the door.
Go in there and talk to grandma. See if she'll let him out. Close that door right now, though. Thank you. The grandbabies, y'all.
Hey, yo, Ausar,
Yo.
enjoy your little ones, brother. They grow up fast, man.
Yeah, they do.
I miss that, man. Giving my life to the movement and look at this shit. You know, so I think about that a lot.
And that's a good point, because we
Yeah, so enjoy that, brother. Can't get them years back.
Yeah, we do so much for the people,
Yeah.
and they don't recognize or love you back.
That's why when I heard him, I was like smiling, man, like, wow, man. You know, I remember mine's, man, like that. You know. So yeah, enjoy that, brother.
Yeah, we done been to gang truces. I done had the gentleman I empowered of the gang truce pop one of the gang members. After that gang member popped the kid. We do all this for the people, and you guys, you hardly recognize the fact that we put in the time to try to hop on a YouTube and push for y'all, then turn around, go hop in the
Yeah, but
community.
I'm talking about when I was doing it, I wasn't on no YouTube. I was in the streets. I was in the
Yeah,
movement.
you like me. I was out there too.
Yeah.
We was on
I was
CNN.
Black Panthered up, suited and booted,
Yeah.
you know, all over, man. So
Y'all seen us
battling and
whooping
all
the Klan on CNN when they
that.
tried to
And
put
now I
Martin
can sit
King
back
on.
and say, man, I would never sacrifice my life for these niggas. Like
No, of
Malcolm
course we
did,
didn't.
like King did, you know, hell no. Nope.
Mm-mm.
They dying was in vain, and I stick by that. But go ahead, carry on. I don't want to take it nowhere else.
No, I think you're right though. But
Mhm.
yeah, let's finish them more. Let's finish them off real quick. Then we're gonna let them in. So the extreme speed of anatomical change and adaptive radiation during this brief time period requires explanations that go beyond those proposed for the evolution of species within the modern biota. So Darwin's explanation in divergent evolution for human beings falls short. You don't have the transitional information for us. You don't even have the chemical explanation for us, as the Cambrian explosion kind of exposes you. Let's go a little further. Another paper likewise maintains the microevolution does not provide. Okay, we read that. And likewise, a 2009 paper in Bioessays concedes that elucidating the materialistic basis of the Cambrian explosion has become more elusive, not less. The more we know about the event itself. So the more we dig, you keep having issues with the fossil record. But the Cambrian explosion is by no means the only explosion of life recorded in the fossil record. Regarding the origin of major fish groups, former Columbian University geoscientist Arthur Strahler writes that this is one count of the creationist charge that can only evoke in unison from paleontologists a plea of nolo contendere, no contest. So when creationists throw this against you, you always lose. You always lose. But that goes into the theory of everything. But we're just talking about evolution itself, which I believe and you believe, but you got holes in it and you're using the wrong one. Now, we can open up the phones because when they get in here, we'll talk about more of this and we'll start to talk about more of this, that human fossil record. And we're also going to get into problem 6. Molecular biology has failed to yield the grand tree of life, which is what you tend to do is try to make a tree of life for each genome, for each animal species, so that we can say this came from this, came from this, came from this, and it never lines up. Who wants it first? Let them come in, sir. They not ready. Hit the link now, little pseudo killer. Look, Cedric Ortega. Peace, sir. I'm cool.
The
I'm
link is in
cool.
the chat. If y'all want to come
Peace,
in, ask questions, there it is.
peace, man. I'm cool. I don't. Yeah, and we'll go deeper if somebody brings something now up. Genesis 49ers said we still don't know the point. The point is that divergent evolution is not the mechanism. It needs to be parallel or convergent evolution with a mixture of the two. So if you don't know the point by now, I'm not sure he was watching. See, Ben knew the point. Ben the Sue knew the point. I don't think the link is showing, Side. They saying There it is. Hello. Let me close this door while y'all come in here. These kids be crazy, man. These kids is crazy. And they need their booties beat. Close up, close up. Ralphie, I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so they're a little nervous.
Let's go, man.
Yeah, they're a little nervous to hit that link now.
Unmute yourself, brother. You gotta can't hear you.
There go Denzali.
Go out, come back in.
Denzali, hit your mute button. You muted. Big brother Zaquan, what's going on?
Man, you got it.
Apostle, what it is, man.
Hey, you got it. I enjoy it. That's all I'm saying. It's a lot better listening to Ausar than it is listening to Cedric. And I can listen to
Your
Ausar.
mic is choppy. Your mic is choppy, Apostle.
Come on.
Hold on. Let me pull it down. How am I now? Am I better? All right. I'm saying I appreciate the presentation. I can listen to it. I can vibe with it. The differences are so minor. I can add creation or either intelligent design to it without getting into arguments or the Assad, you know the difference between being assertive and being
Yes, sir.
aggressive.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And they get aggressive when you speak back. They get to cutting you off and flipping out. I usually just get quiet and I'll be like, all right, finish what you're going to say. Right. Whatever you said is going to be what you hang by.
Right. Now, me personally, they don't know. My personality is wrapped up in a lot of medical issues. I have what they call hyperthyroidism. I'm overactive in my thyroid. I tend to, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I tend to be more elevated, more active.
Dezali, say something right quick.
Yo, can you hear me?
All right, I hear you now. Hey, Apostle, let me ask you. You said that you could understand a saw more better than Cedric and Unc. Why is that, brother?
Meaning I can vibe with Ausar. Everything that Ausar, I don't necessarily have a major problem with Ausar's presentation. I'm not in total agreement with it, but I'm not objected to it. You understand?
Are you an evolutionist? Do you support evolution?
I support micro evolution, not macro.
Well,
see, I support micro evolution. I don't think we've been on this planet, and even science is wobbling a little bit. They won't come out and admit they're wrong. But the James Webb is basically showing them that they're wrong. When you start talking billions and millions of years, what is a billion or a million to a trillion? I mean, come on, man. You act crazy. What is a billion years in any realistic conversation? I got no way of understanding that. I got no way of understanding 300,000 years. Anything being on this earth that long. Not only do I got to look at the earth, I got to look at the stars, the moon, and everything else out there in creation and come up with an explanation for it. So the further you go back into millions and billions of years, the further you can get away from explaining any of that to me. because it all sounds like nonsense. There's no way in the hell. Science. And they coming across like they are the proof of in all, get all. That's the most ridiculous thing. That's worse than reading the Bible and believing that it's true. Than to sit there and listen to and come away with any kind of reasonable understanding that he know what the hell he talking about. What he's saying is real. It sounds made up. Excuse me, sir. It sounds made up. When I see intelligent design developing before my eyes, you want to tell me there's no intelligence to this? When my body can heal itself of moles, I can scratch myself. Now, because of diabetes, it takes a little longer, but I can cut myself today. And then a week later, my skin is mended. I might have a scar a week later. But the body has a way of rejuvenating itself. Something put that. Something put that there. Yeah, as I'm getting older, but there's compensations even for my age. I'm getting better in one area as I'm getting weaker in another area.
So you're saying that there's a God that did this for you?
Yes, sure. There's an intelligent design.
And can
There's something.
you prove any of
There
it?
you go. No, any more than I can prove, you can prove that this earth is billions of years old. They can't. They can't. Now, and they are seriously. Why do you think they seriously have? You don't think Congress know what's going on out of space? Why are they having these things, man? They know what the hell's going on. They trying to prepare you.
Wait, let me
They're
let you
going to tell
back
you.
in,
They're
and then
going
I'm
to
come
tell
back
you
to you.
very soon what's going on.
Hold up, say that
You,
again.
Congress.
Oh, all
They
right.
know what the hell is going on.
Let me get back to Dizali, and then I'm gonna come back to you. Go ahead, Dizali.
Yeah. What's up, Sa? What's good with you? Ausar, you my brother, man. You've been my brother for years. You know what I'm saying? We go back. You know what I mean? And if you were doing a presentation on Kemet or something on theology, I would have nothing to say because I don't know anything about that, brother. I don't know anything about that, about Kemet theology, all that stuff that you are expert in. Looking at your presentation, I have to say, brother, you are not expert in science. You made some very simple mistakes. Like when you like the very first thing that you said when you were saying, why is it not a scientific law and it's just a scientific theory? You understand that a scientific theory goes further than a scientific law. Scientific theory.
This is
Hold
all
on.
bullshit.
Share your screen and put it into. You can type it into Google if you want. I can do it. I can share my screen.
Share
Oh
your
yeah, I
screen.
pull it up. The theory can explain, but it's not a law because unless it's proven with the empirical evidence, it doesn't become a law. This is why
But
the law will always trump the theory. The theory is based off a hypothesis, and you have some really good theories, such as evolution. The reason it's not a law is it still has holes in it. But let's go here. The difference.
yeah. And while you're pulling me up, let me say that there's where you're messing it up at. You're saying that it does not go into a scientific law because it's still a theory. You're getting that wrong, brother. A theory, if you had to put one ahead of the other, which is really wrong to, you really can't put one ahead of the other. But if you had to, a scientific theory is greater than a scientific law. You have to
Now, that's
understand.
crazy.
I know it is. Science is crazy if you don't
Zali.
speak that language. If you do
No,
not speak
no, that
that
is
that
absolutely
language,
crazy,
it
man.
will sound
That a
crazy to you.
theory
But
is
go ahead,
stronger
pull
than
it
a
up.
law.
Go ahead and pull it up. Go ahead and
It's
pull
up
it up
now.
It's
for us.
something that has
I'll
been
share my
determined to
screen
be
real
true.
quick.
We
Yeah,
gonna
see,
go ahead.
yeah, but my screen is sharing now. Law means that we've not only seen it and recognized that the empirical
Right. You
evidence is
established it.
more than suggestive, it's a fact. Theory is more of an explanation of how the thing takes place. And so
If
some
he
people,
can't understand that,
I know,
you wasting your
Let me share my
time.
screen.
That's
Let me
all.
share my screen. Pull
I
your.
got you here.
That's the same thing about the argument in
I have
a
something better for you.
criminal case compared to an argument in a civil case. The burden of proof is different. The burden of
No,
proof in a criminal case is definitely by evidential by law. It's not by opinion.
you are
Right.
speaking two different languages.
Theory
It's
is
the science.
opinion. No, because you put the word
Okay. All right.
science
All
with
right. All
it,
right. All right. All right. Wait.
doesn't matter.
Let me share my
In
screen. Let me share my
law,
screen. Let me share my
in
screen.
criminal law, there's science. In
Let
criminal
me share
law,
my screen.
that makes that determination.
I'm not going to argue it. We have experts that handle this. Let me
Man,
share my
you off
screen.
them rattled your brain, man.
Let me.
Hey,
Put
while
in
he's
that
sharing his screen, sa.neter and Apostle and Ausar. So I went out and I bought me the Dell the desktop. You see it starting up?
Oh, we got it. Oh, wait.
Ooh, what is that, man?
that's
That's the one I told you about yesterday.
What is that? How much
that's
was
a
that?
that's a Dell. It costed a G $99.99.
Oh, that's
Man,
not bad.
Oh man, how
Yeah.
much a month you paying for that?
No, I just paid
it's a
it.
G.
He
That's
just
it.
bought that out. I mean,
I was
you pay about a month. You
No,
gonna
I
pay over
bought it flat out.
$1,600 for that.
Nah,
Yeah,
just
I
it's
bought it
yeah.
flat out. Yeah.
Where
yeah.
you
So
get it from?
Best Buy out here in LA, we got a thing called Best Buy.
What? I know Best Buy is.
Okay.
I'm in the country, but I'm not that far gone.
No, I know y'all got different names too. Yeah, I know y'all
Yeah.
got. Yeah,
Hold on. So that's what size is the screen?
I believe 27,
It's a nice
Okay.
size.
What size? What is the
16.
speed? Gigabytes?
Yeah, no
Oh,
Eh,
6.
64, right?
No, I think he said 1 megahertz, 16 something.
All right, let's get back to the information.
Ah,
Let's go.
Okay,
ah,
yeah, let's get back to it. All right, stop. But I
All right.
want you
ah.
to
Do
know
you
I
have
got
my
it. I'm
screen
waiting.
sharing? Do you
I
have
got
my?
Outside, share
you.
Jazali's screen for him, please.
So all this time you didn't have a computer?
yeah, I ain't got no computer either. That's why I really don't try to do debates and stuff. Go ahead though,
Oh
Desire.
man, I
Hey,
got three.
You got me up,
I got
sir?
3 computers.
Yeah, your face showing, DZ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sharing the
Yeah, you
screen
sharing now.
out. All right,
I got
all
my
right, bet.
laptop.
All right.
Show
hey,
that
What
side.
I
Apostle, try to hold out for a minute. Let them talk.
all right.
Okay.
What
I just
I
want to
asked
show
is
my laptop. That's all.
why is evolution considered a theory and not a law if this is accurate? Great question, and it touches upon a common misunderstanding between the words theory and law in science. In science, theory and law do not mean the same thing as in everyday conversation. So let's go into a scientific law describes what happens, usually with a concise mathematical formula. A scientific theory explains how and why something happens.
That's what it said.
It's a substantiated explanation backed by evidence. All right. So why is evolution a theory and not a law? Because evolution is a complex explanatory framework, not just a description of a pattern. Evolution is complex, people. Ladies and gentlemen, listening. Look at the things that are involved with evolution. So it has to take account for all of these things.
DZ.
Well, why not
DZ.
promote it to a law? Hold on. If it's
You
so
reading
well
what I
supported.
already read in the
He
presentation.
read that. I mean, that's
All right.
it. He read that.
Did you read this? Scientific
Yeah.
laws don't outrank theories. They answer different questions. Understand that, everyone listening. Scientific laws do not outrank scientific theories. So we don't
So
what does
does
that
it work
mean
the other
though?
way?
It's
So
got
does
to
no.
be
theory
well
outrank
supported.
law?
Yeah, it has to
What
be well
ranking
supported
system though?
in order for it to
Yeah.
become the
There
law.
there
And if
really
it's not,
isn't.
that's why it's
Go ahead.
below it.
I'm confused about what they mean by it outranks it. Outranks is
Right.
how and
So
what
the law.
it.
So to answer your question, Brother Keon, the law is something that's been substantiated. We know that's exactly why it happens. The theory is an explanation of how the thing
Explanation
takes
or
place.
possibly
And when
reason
you talk
why it
about,
happened.
hold up, brother. When you talk about how something takes place, somebody might say it takes place this way. Somebody might say it takes this way. This is why we have multiverse. We have Big Bang Theory, and we have a few other theories of how the universe starts. Because the theory is an explanation of how someone thinks it takes place. When it's a law, we know exactly how it takes place. And this is why they say, see, it doesn't outrank. But when you look at them, if it didn't outrank it, it would be a law. But it's not. It's still just a theory because it's not fully proven. It's still a hypothesis. Go
A
ahead,
Yeah,
brother.
theory
but
is a
but
theory
but
is
he
a
was he
theory
was
is a
saying that.
theory.
Okay, sorry, you're making an argument that a law outranks a theory.
Yes.
He's saying that the
A
theory,
theory
well, according
outranks the
to,
law.
yeah, and according
Yes.
to Chat GPT here, I guess he is saying that a theory outranks a law. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, how when one is solidified and the other one is just a
They got
thought?
a whole bunch of people in jail. They got to set free.
That's right. How,
Yeah, if that's the
Sway?
case.
How?
That
All right,
is
hold
that is
on.
legal charge.
Denali, you finished with your screen or you still going?
Sure, we can stop sharing. I'll if something else comes up, I'll
All
go
right,
ahead.
we got one mic, y'all. Let's one mic. When one person talking, don't cut them off, please. I'm gonna make sure y'all get in. That's why you should turn on your cameras, hold up your finger, and I know who to call on next. Okay, Keon, do you
Yes, sir.
have any question about the brother presentation?
Man, nah. To be honest with you, I was with Super Wavy a minute ago, so I didn't even see the presentation. But I know Asar pretty much is probably on my side a little bit from yesterday. And so Asar, are you under? I'm gonna just ask you this: Are you under the does evolution make sense to you? Let me just ask that simple question.
Evolution makes sense. The type that there a lot of people are still promoting, the divergent evolution, it doesn't seem to make sense according to the fossil record. It doesn't seem to make sense chemically, and it doesn't seem to make sense uh uh mathematically it falls apart. Chemically, instead of taking the what I just said, which I haven't even gotten into, because I'm sure somebody going to try and step to the plate for real, and we're going to end up in a debate. You're going to see more real information in that discussion. You'll see the different biological genes that make things up from the biosphere, and when you see that, you'll see how things come into existence. And it doesn't appear by mating different species to get a new one in most cases. So it's why you have ligers that are sterile,
Mm.
because a tiger
Right.
and a lion aren't compatible, even though they're both from the cat family.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So
Or,
since go ahead. My
a
bad.
horse and a mule. I mean, a
Yeah,
donkey.
mules are generally sterile.
They are sterile.
Yeah.
Period.
Let me ask you this:
Mm.
with the presentation that you just done, and were seeking to um, debunk certain aspects of evolution, I would suppose, as far as it goes to human beings. I think that's what I ascertained. So everything else on this planet, every other organism on this planet, you're fine with evolution, but when it comes to human beings, is where you have the problem, or am I off there?
Low off.
No.
So this is what you want to do, Dizali. You still want to stick with evolution because that's our mechanism, without question. The thing is, you've been following only divergent evolution, and like I asked the other day, I said, if if you take a peacock and a mockingbird, can you make an ostrich? No. If you take it, and we can name a different types of birds and a different amount of animals on the planet and ask them to mate. When they mate, they tend to come out sterile. They tend to come out deformed. You don't see mutations take place in that method. If you have the same species, Like I said earlier, if a black person is mating with a white person, you're still going to get a human being, but you might have a different eye color. You might have a different skin tone. You might create a new form of hair.
So that actually supports evolution. I don't understand where
No,
you're
You're not going
can I
where
against
say
you're
evolution.
can I say
going
That's what I'm
with
telling you.
can I
You're
that.
say something real
talking
quick?
divergent
Go ahead.
evolution. There's other types. There's parallel and there's convergent. So it's
Yes.
not that we're discounting evolution. We're discounting divergent evolution in the materialization and the becoming of human beings.
Yeah, and then one thing, Dazali, before you go, because this is the argument that I be hearing when I was talking with Unc one time. It's not that, because there's to me there is changes within human beings you can't deny. Like there's
Right.
changes that you just cannot deny. Our argument when we talk about people that, at least I don't know if this is a SAR argument, but I'm pretty sure of it. Our argument is that a organism cannot then change into a different organism.
Right.
No matter how much a human changes through mutations, the environment, whatever thing you want to put in there, it's never going to change into a dog, a fish. It's just not. That's what the argument is. That's
I
at
think
least
that
that's what.
y'all are not taking into account time. And I think that's an easy mistake to make because we're going to live what 60, 70, 80, 90 years. We can't even fathom a million years. So even species that we see that are adapting now and changing now, well, everything is still evolving now. Where will they be in a million years is the question. In
Same as they
in
are today.
in
Or
10
usually they won't exist.
but that's not what science is showing us.
But
Science is showing
that's
us
to me though.
otherwise.
That's the argument, Dazali. I don't
Science
think
can't
that
show
there.
you nothing different because nothing has lived long enough to show any difference.
That's
Yes.
why I
Here's
Other
say
the
than
I
that,
thing.
think that
Go
there's a
ahead,
Here's
there's
the
John.
a
thing,
extent.
y'all.
Go ahead, bro.
I think that Abrahamic faith people,
Oh, here we go.
Apostle, Keon, Hebrews, Muslims, they will never get evolution. And that's because they holding fast to a God that they will never get to know.
You're
They
right.
holding fast thinking that God is going to come and that's what they believe in. So they're going to go against everything that's dealing with science, man. Don't
Right.
you get it? That's what I'm talking
Thing
about. It's a
is,
waste of
Osar,
time.
evidently you wrong.
I'm talking, Apostle.
Yeah.
There's a waste of time trying to convince an Israelite or Abrahamic faith believer about evolution. They're going to say, God did this. God
Can I?
did all these things. So it's like really wasting the time talking to them. Keon would never get it.
Of
Apostle would
course,
never get it.
Of
of
course
course,
Uh,
he'll say that.
of
let
course I
me go
will.
to
But
But
Suntan.
even
wait,
Israel
stop.
and Asar, they not getting it.
I don't want to start putting people on mute. Let me go to Suntan. Let me see what Suntan got to say. Go ahead, Suntan. Unmute yourself, brother.
Peace, brother, little brother, sir. Like this,
Peace.
what you're talking about is, is we could disagree or we can agree, but the thing is, it's information that you didn't just make up. And what to side point is about Christians and Hebrews believing, with Keon, Apostle, what have you. They believe in what they believe in the Adam and Eve story. So God created man from the side of the rib. This is the narrative. So when you go to evolution, it diverts away from that. My thing is this right here. It was a civilization before the Adam and Eve narrative. So that just begs me because, Si, I still believe in God. I believe that there's an ultimate force out here, but I'm not waiting on Christ to come on no cloud. I believe he was here as a regular human teaching what he had learned and what he was given.
You believe he coming back?
Huh?
You believe he coming back?
Well, I believe he's coming back to the people within their heart, within their own self. He's not coming back as a grandstand where everybody is saying this just me talking. I believe he's coming to people individually. And that I believe religion is an individual thing. So people can make that he coming back to the people who believe that he's coming back. And that's not going to be a grandstand like on a cloud or nothing like that. It's your understanding of him coming back is what I believe it is. You know, once you purely understand that you have a relationship with him, because to the panel, the mind is very strong. It wanders off and it does all things, even when you're sleeping. So I believe that the mind can
How do you have a relationship with make believe stuff?
Well,
That's childish, brother.
Here you go, right here, side. It's maybe make believe to you, but it's not make believe to them. See, your mind can create what it wants to create as long as you feel it facilitated. So that's why I say spirituality is individual, man. Because look, if we were to be judged, don't nobody know, you know, his judgment. That's only between him and his maker. So I'll leave it right there, side. And I truly believe that you know, evolution have happened. And I believe it was because of this ultimate force that I believe in. Because when you believe in the Adam and Eve story, then that kind of throws off chronology. Because if you had a civilization before Adam and Eve, then how could a new civilization be created and have this history without no sort of documents or no sort of nothing? It's just, I was talking to a religious person the other day, very religious, and they told me that the book was a historical book, and it's not.
You next, Apostle. I see you.
It's not a historical book. It's a book of knowledge. That's why, you know, I respect the Bible, because it can help people out, you know. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna rest. And this is for you, brother Apostle.
Oh.
By seeing, you have eyes, but you don't see. And by hearing, you have ears, but you don't hear. At least anytime you hear with your mind and you understand with your heart, and then you will be converted. And that goes to people who wants to stick with the narrative of the Lord. You hear and you understand with your heart. You can't say, I hate this person, if you believe in this narrative. So, peace.
Let me tell Brother Santan.
Hold on for a minute, Ausar. I know it's your show, but Sai, don't cut me off. You don't see what you just did.
What I just did?
You just threw Santan off topic by your comment. Where Ausar, this is not a conversation about the Bible. This is not a conversation about Adam and Eve.
You don't understand.
Because you interjected. You got this man coming up talking about about my belief, this belief, that belief, when Ausar is talking evolution. But you threw the whole conversation off when you came in talking about what can't help us. And here I'm closer than agreeing to Ausar than Disley is. Diesel, I can't pronounce his name. That's what he is. He's against Ausar. I'm against Ausar. But you're making me and Keon against Ausar, which is no truth. I think Keon even said he agreed with Ausar.
I do.
So why are you doing that? Just to create controversy. Me and Keon has nothing to do with this conversation. The Bible had nothing to do with it. Nobody brought it up but you.
The book have everything to do with it.
No, not from his point of view. Not from the topic. You might not like it, brother. You might not like it, but
the reason why the book have everything to do with it, because it shapes and molds your mind. You see? That's why I say it have everything to do with it. And that's
it's prejudice.
Hold on, Apostle. That's why I said you and Keon would never get evolution. Because
I got something of it.
I'm talking.
Yeah, but I believe in evolution.
Apostle, your mind is already wrapped. Your mind is already trapped. Your mind is not going to let information sink in when it's going against your belief, your foundational belief. So you shut out the information. So yes, the Bible have a lot to do with your shaping of your mind, brother. So let me let you finish. Go ahead, Apostle.
Here's what you don't get, Si. This conversation has nothing to do with it.
Nothing.
Ausar didn't bring it up. Let's stick to the topic. My personal opinion doesn't have anything to do. Like I say, I'm more in agreement with Ausar here. I agree with evolution. Don't tell me what I agree with and don't. Don't do that. Well, I'm saying your whole argument is a fallacy. Your whole argument is a fallacy, and you're cutting me off.
But you agree with intelligent design.
It's based on a
You do agree with
fallacy
intelligent
of what
design.
you think.
Right?
Stick to the topic, brother.
Ausar, let Mac Rob up.
You an atheist
My
now,
man.
Saad? What do you mean he agrees with
Come on,
intelligent
Mac
design?
Rob.
You agree with intelligent design. What are we talking about?
Leave silent, man. He just trying to
You heard
create
me,
content.
You heard
Yeah,
me.
what'd you say? What'd you say? Oh,
He want Mac Rob to come in.
Let him up.
no, I can't hear him. Y'all talking. What'd you say?
Mac Rob in here in the bottom. Let him up.
No, I don't see him. Ain't nobody back there.
Yeah, he not showing.
Go ahead, Carl. You wanted to go right quick before I get on?
Oh yeah, my sister Juju, I think she had mentioned something about evolution being the case.
Are you sharing the screen?
Evolution is not the case. Yeah, we can share it. We're not saying evolution is not the case. So I think what some of you are hearing instead of comprehending is that evolution is a reality. What is not a reality is the fact that it's a law, and the method that they're using in evolution is not a law or a fact. So when they think that they've got something in particular when it comes to evolution, they need to go back to the drawing board. Here's the newest form of the Homo erectus that they've now displayed, because science has been getting clowned about those pictures I showed you earlier. This is when you get the Homo sapiens supposedly, and they go through the new evolution tree. That's your Neanderthal. This is when you get Homo sapien. And also, I was going to conclude with my brother Denzali concerning the law. Theories fight to become laws. They fight to become. Where did I put it at? There it is. What is a scientific theory? It explores the why. Okay, so it's asking the question and explaining what they perceive to be the way it comes into existence. We know it happens. We see it happens. We see how it happens. Now, this person has his method of explaining. This other person has their method of explaining. This is why those are theories instead of laws.
Wait, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Read that second paragraph.
He's not going to read it.
I'm about to. I was about to read this both of them. So what is a scientific theory explores why? A theory is about underlying causes, seeking to explain the reason the phenomena occurs. The focus of a theory is to provide a logical explanation for things that occur in nature. There can be more than one theory about the same phenomenon. Can a theory become a law? Absolutely. The idea that a scientific theory could become a law once proven to be a fact is a common misconception.
Just died.
How you died, bro.
You definitely died.
You always died at source. Y'all heard.
You just died, bro.
He didn't say nothing.
You always died.
He literally read one
Let's read
sentence.
it
What are
again
you
since he
talking
didn't
about?
hear it and he thought he
What is he
found
talking
something.
Smarter than that, young buck.
Idea that a scientific theory.
All right, one mic, y'all. One mic.
The idea that a scientific theory could become a law once it's proven to be a fact is a common misconception. In science, laws and theories are two different types of scientific facts. A scientific theory cannot become a scientific fact. Let me read it for them again in case.
No, you good. I appreciate you, Saul. You're presenting what I want to do. Thank you very much.
Sit back for a second. I'll let you know when you can hear that. So watch it again. They're trying to propose that the theory is a scientific fact, but watch what it says. It says a scientific theory cannot become a scientific fact, just as no explanation theory could ever become a description of law. So when you pretend like your theory is the truth, you need more work. It's still a hypothesis. Additional data could be discovered that could cause a law or theory to change or be disproven, but one will never become the other. So when you come with your theory and it's not a law, we always take the law before the theory, because the theory is just an explanation about the same phenomenon. Somebody else might have another one. You died again. I kill you at every. You've been stabbed. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, all right. What's so funny is on you, brother. What are you laughing at?
No. I appreciate that source.
I bet you do.
I just appreciate that source, man.
One mic,
it's like smashing on them. They read the shit and they don't get it.
No cursing, no cursing. No cursing.
No, so listen. I'm not up here. I would first like to say, I actually learned a lot from Ausar. His delivery is exquisite. His pronouncement of words is spectacular. His measurement, his tonnage, the way he will take a real scientific source and fuck it up. Excuse my language.
No, you can't curse and then say excuse my language, brother.
Oh, you're right.
They're gonna mess it up. They're gonna mess up the video.
You're right. But the way he puts together and reads accurate sources, he will mix some intelligent design sources in. He'll use, for the most part, he has scientific sources, but he'll do what he just did right now. Right. But I want y'all to learn how the way he deploys his measurements and the way he confuses your brain. This is important. It's the art of the conversation. He operates at a high level, the way he conversates, the way he does it. But his inconsistencies of understanding science is clearly evident by anybody who remotely understands a little bit of evolution. The first thing he did was he says he agrees with evolution, does all that, and then discredits evolutionary theory. It's crazy. So let me share my screen, right? I'm not here to debate with the guy. Go back. I refuse to do it. If a person doesn't understand what a scientific theory is and what a law is, then they're not ready for a conversation. I'm not going to do it. What I will do is just for the people, because I love the people, man. I really appreciate the people. This is what I will do this for them. Share my screen and let me do this. All right. So all I want to do and get it out the way. If y'all can actually go get a master class. We're part of the master class. Hey, sorry, you got to remove the thing off the screen so I can be able to read that. All right. So I hope y'all can see the screen. Everybody can see it. We're going to do this. And you're going to hear the same thing Ausar just read. Right. But I'm not going to add to it like he did. I want y'all to take your time. Right. And listen to what this is, like you in the 10th, 11th, 12th grade, like you on college, right? Listen to what I'm saying. Now, understand this, that this man is trying to say that a theory is less than a law or a law is better than a theory. This is clear in what he's saying, okay? I'm going to deconstruct what this man is doing to you mentally, okay? Next point is there's no elevation between the two. He gets that all mixed up. He gets it mixed up because he does not understand the language of science. Now, a theory versus a law. Basics of the scientific method, okay? So you go through the hypothesis and get the scientific method, and you'll end up at a scientific theory. Now watch this. The scientific method involves formulating hypotheses and testing them to see if they hold up to the realities of the natural world. Successfully proven hypotheses can lead to either, watch this, either, see that word right there? Gotta take my time. Either scientific theories or scientific laws. This is an important junction in the conversation. Either. Okay? Now, here we go. Watch this. It says, which are similar in character. This is where we get messed up, but are not synonymous terms. Y'all get that? It's important to get. This is the website where the experts go, right? You got Neil deGrasse Tyson, high-level scientists on here. It's a damn master class. So I'm giving y'all a master class. So now we know that theories and scientific laws are not synonymous terms. That's important. Here's the next phase. Okay, and we come right here. It says, what is a scientific theory? A scientific theory is a description of the natural world that scientists have proven through rigorous testing. You see that? So if we say the theory of evolution, that means that it has been proven through rigorous testing as understood within the scientific community. See, we're talking about the scientific community, not outside, not Tommy, Shorty, she fat to death because her father fed her grits when she was growing up. That's why she looking like that. No, that's a theory walking down the street. But in science, is a whole different language and a whole different understanding with words that you may be familiar with. As understood within the scientific community, it said a theory explains how nature behaves under specific conditions. Theories tend to be as broad as their supporting scientific evidence will permit. It say they seek to serve as a definitive explanation of some aspect of the natural world. That's why we can't put that on God. God is not in the natural world. God is supernatural. Understand, it's outside the natural world, right? That ain't even a shot. Now, what are examples of scientific theories? The Big Bang Theory, meaning they're not guessing. Y'all heard what a theory was. The heliocentric theory. It say the theory of general relativity. It say the theory of evolution by natural selection. That's Charles Darwin. Remember I said that. Now, what is a scientific law? Like theories, scientific laws describe phenomenon that the scientific community has found to be proven true. Generally, laws describe what will happen in a given situation as demonstrable by the mathematical equations. Whereas, listen closely, whereas theories describe the how. This is a key point here. One describes the how, there's a scientific theory, and laws describe the what. I'm going to say this again. Laws describe the what, whereas theories describe the how. What? What happens when you drop a ball? Gravity gets in and pulls it down. Okay, but how? The theory would explain the how. What are the mechanisms in play? Gravity. Why does it do this? What is the reason for this? See? The how. The phenomenon happens. It says scientific laws develop from scientific discoveries and rigorous tested hypotheses, and new theories generally uphold and expand laws. I'm going to say this again. Scientific laws develop from scientific discoveries and rigorously tested hypotheses, and new theories generally uphold and expand laws. See? So a scientific theory can expand the law, not overthrow a law, not necessarily a law. Watch this. Though neither is ever held to be imputably true, meaning like it's just not a final type of thing. That would be in religion. Okay? In religion, right, you can't question that. I'm not here to argue over religion. I'm just trying to give you an example. Now watch this. Examples of a scientific law. Now watch this. Newton's law of universal gravity. See? Newton's law of motion. Pauli's law. The laws of thermodynamics. Now watch this. We're closing it out. We're in class. Watch this. Scientific laws differ from theories. I'll say this again. Scientific laws differ from theories in that they tend to describe a narrow set of conditions. Oh, so that's what a law does. It describes a narrow set of conditions. Scientific law might explain the relationship between two specific forces or between two changing substances in chemical reactions. Watch this. Theories are typically more expansive, and they focus on, here we go again, on the how and the why. See?
They are asking, can you show where Ausar was wrong? Can you show where he was wrong?
Yeah, because he said in his presentation, y'all go. Why did you cut me off right now? My mom.
I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead, do your thing, and then you can get back to it.
Yeah. Both scientific laws and theories are considered a scientific fact, there, bro. Now, so you asked me. He read the source, right? We all heard this man. Watch this. We all heard this man think that a law was greater than a theory. A law is not greater than theory. We explained what the differences was, right? We clearly said that a theory explains the how and the why. You know what I'm saying? And we talked about a law, talked about the what. So he's trying to think there's a hierarchy. Hey, evolutionary theory, you know what I'm saying? It's not a law though, but a scientific theory does not graduate to a law. This is where he's making the the crazy thing at? He'll tell you. He'll say, yeah, hold on. The theory of evolution is not a law, though. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be greater than that. So that's what he's wrong at. He has created a hierarchy in his eloquent way he talks to the listening audience. And in the middle of confusion, you be like scrambled up. But if you was to go into a scientific class, right, first year student in college, and say what he just said, they would kick him out of class. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate the conversation, man. I've done my job for the night. Where's Apostle? I'm saying, look, you know, you my man, 30 grand, right? But I don't appreciate what you're doing right now. Normally, you'll read something. Apostle, your comprehension, if we're not talking religion, right, and getting to that fight, I think you do a good job of comprehending. So what I just would ask you as a brother, right, as a brother, whether I don't believe or not, as a brother, what I'm asking you, Apostle, is can you please look into the difference between a theory and a law, and the next time you get a chance, right, come back on sa.neter and say, you know what, yo, I appreciate what Ung did for me, yo. The man Ausar was playing with me. That's all I'm asking out you. I know you could do that, bro. I'm not arguing over your God, right? Not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just saying, I know you're a college student. You graduated from college. So at this point, I'm just asking you to use what you use to get that degree, brother. If you can do that for me, for me, brother, I would be highly appreciated to you. sa.neter, thanks for me coming on, man. I appreciate the audience. I'm not trying to fight tonight, man. I just realized sometimes, man, in this particular space, it's just better to teach, man. So,
all right, Mac Rob, turn your camera on, man, so I can see you.
Big up to Mac Rob, pseudo killer official.
Hey, before Mac Rob go, Ausar, do you want to respond?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's ask the audience.
Right, Mac Rob, you go right after Ausar.
Yeah, and I'll be short. I'll let you get
camera on, sir. I can't see. I'm just looking at our Apostle right now.
So, Rob, we'll let you go right after. It's no biggie. Are scientific laws facts? Yes. Laws are facts. So that's without question. If you have a fact, you will always take it over somebody's theory. In fact, you have friends. One person will say, what happened? We walked in, man. This cat started talking crazy. Little now got busy with him, dropped him with the left hook, and then hit him with the chair. It was over. You ask another person what happened. What happened? Well, we walked in the place. This cat came up to us talking crazy. We didn't do nothing. When he turned his back, now hit him with the chair, and then it was over. But yeah, they the fight was. It's not like it, now got in his face, and then now was quiet till he turned his back. One of them is telling the truth. The other one is not quite telling the full truth. So we have to look at what it says. Scientific laws are statements of fact that describe actions or relationships in the natural world. Unc only read what y'all just heard me read 3 different times. Now, we got that. That's a scientific law. It's a fact that describes the actions or relationships. Theory makes an excuse. Let's look at the excuse for theory. Theory says, you're asking the wrong question. Theories never become facts. That's what it says, literally. Instead, scientific theories are created from large collections of facts. So now we're going to put on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a known fact that we exist. The universe itself. Cosmogony, cosmology. Do you believe that the Big Bang theory is the one, that the multiverse theory is the one, or that string theory is the one? Those are 3 different theories explaining how our universe came into being. Mm-hmm. Which one is correct?
Well, there's only one theory out of the one you just explained. That's the Big Bang theory. So that's the answer to your question. And to finish that off, facts, both scientific laws and theories are considered scientific facts. I'll end with that. Appreciate you, family. I got my man.
We got more questions for you now. So the Big Bang theory is agreed upon by most, but not by all. How come string theory is still around, and how come the multiverse is still around if the Big Bang theory is the one that we came into existence by?
Because they're hypothesis, and the string theory is theoretical. They have not been elevated to a scientific theory. That's all, brother.
Are you saying the Big Bang theory is not a hypothesis?
No, the Big Bang Theory. You hear it. It's called the Big Bang Theory. It's a
Let's look
scientific
it
theory.
up, y'all.
I just read it.
This is real time. This is what we got to do when they YouTube it. When they YouTube science. So Big Bang Theory, you can already hear that it's a theory, by the way.
Right.
Big Bang Theory.
We agree with that, brother. Thank you.
A spin-off series. Yeah. So hold on.
You're in the series. You're in the movies. How
Is
you doing there, sa.neter?
Big Bang a fact?
It organized.
Not a proven fact. The Big Bang is a widely accepted theory that explains how the universe began. It is believed to have occurred more than 13.8 billion years ago and created much of our current universe. So it's not a fact, Ankh. You just lied to the people. And this is why I'm up here to edify, because you take theories, you take possibilities, you take hypotheses, and you conflate them into the actuality, and that is not the case. Now, even though I also believe that it probably happened from the Big Bang, this is still just a theory. It's still just a hypothesis. It's not a proven fact. You always take law.
Wait, don't jump in. Don't jump in, because he has a way of being super.
Go ahead,
share my screen again,
or Dizali, either one.
Share my screen again, Saw. I'm gonna
Audience, y'all understand that, right?
Yeah. You
I just want to make sure you understand the difference between
right here. Once again, it says both scientific laws and theories are considered scientific facts, brother. And if you understand what a theory is, a theory actually organizes the facts, brother. So all I'm saying is that's what the literature says. You actually put
page ain't sharing. Have him look up, is the Big Bang Theory a fact?
No, man. Listen, I don't want to. I can't have a conversation with you, man.
You probably can't.
Rob, what's up, Rob?
Don't sound like you can.
You good, man?
Peace to the family.
How you doing, man?
All right, everybody hold up. Mac Rob, let's go, brother.
What it do? What it do?
What's good, man?
What up? What up? Appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you letting me on the show, man. I often struggle to get on sometimes, but I'm here, and I do appreciate the conversation. I think has dropped a substantial amount of information to correct a lot of what we've heard. And unfortunately, there were some foundational issues, and I do want to make a few disclaimers. I'm not a scientist, despite holding multiple degrees in the field of science. I'm not a biologist. I'm not an a geneticist, or any of the sort. But I do think that I may be able to offer help in this conversation. A few of the mistakes that aren't corrected was knowing the difference between a scientific theory and a scientific law. A lot of people expect the graduation of one to the other. Show the divergence at the hypothesis level. A scientific fact, as mentioned, scientific theory, organizes the facts. And the way I always think of it is, think of a house made of multiple bricks. The house is the scientific theory. The bricks are the facts. Can a house change as the facts change? Yes. Which means that, can a theory change as more bricks are added or other bricks are taken out? Yes. Still a theory. Can a theory be overturned? Yes. But you are highly unlikely to see that happen. You see them transform or get better over time, most often. And these foundational mistakes are often made in casual conversations where people are having conversations about high level things such as evolution. I propose to my team that it probably be beneficial to actually do or show maybe an evolution video with great animations. I think it's difficult to have conversations where we're just sharing words or just speaking to each other about the situation. I think that most listeners probably in our community are going to be both auditory and visual learners. And so I think it will help us to break down or show video of what evolution actually is and the multiple mechanisms. Because I heard somebody say they believe in microevolution, but don't believe in macroevolution. And I want to say I've seen that in some of this anti-evolution religious literature and some of these websites. But you can't have, to my knowledge, you can't have one. Like, one leads to the other. And so I think that those foundational issues need to be addressed, and I think that everybody could benefit from having those videos. But you got ahead of it before I could get on and do my thing. He killed it, and he had a really good source in explaining the difference between scientific theory, scientific law, facts, how they're organized, etc. So I appreciate that.
So he explained what I explained earlier.
You got to turn on your camera if y'all want me to choose you now. I got to see you.
Oh yeah.
Hey, can I ask this one question before y'all move
Go
further?
ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother.
Can the individuals that watched Unc's brief presentation admit that he was correct and that they were wrong? That will say a lot. That will say a lot to everybody who's watching about your character. Are you teachable? Are you teachable? Can you admit that the information that you presented was incorrect and that Unc provided a valid source to simplify and correct the conversation? Because there was another brother that came in and tried to explain the same thing, and Unc just kicked in the door waving the 4-4.
He really didn't. He just read what I read, and he had some of the same pieces from my article. Copilot pulled from the article that I pulled up, which is why you heard a lot of the same sentences. So to try to say that he did something different when we clearly just heard the same thing, and most of the audience said he just said that, then you should fall in line with what they're saying.
Asar, you know, I can ask you one
comprehend
question.
the original teaching.
Asar,
this way you could move forward in progress. Stop
Asar.
trying to hand clap for.
No,
our
I'm not.
brother's good. Ankh is the man. I love him, but he was wrong on the situation concerning divergent evolution.
That's fine.
And he was just wrong about the theory of the Big Bang being a fact.
That's fine. Hold up.
And I agree with the Big Bang theory, and know he's wrong about it being a fact.
So I just want to listen. I don't need anybody to agree with me or even think I'm right or wrong. I just want to know. I just want the people to be able to hear the difference in what we're both saying. Because like I said, you have an eloquent system of I can't even say the bull. I want to say bull S, but I ain't gonna say it. But your system of placement, the way you do it is spectacular. So right now, all I want to do is, right, I'm gonna let Mac Rob tell you the difference between what we talking about when we saying a scientific law, right, and a scientific theory, and where me and you differ at, because he heard the conversation. So Mac Rob, where do you mean this man differ at on that? That way the audience will know. I didn't want to say it. I want you to bring that out because you listened.
Right. From what I heard, it sounds like a scientific theory was being invalidated because it wasn't a law. And so it also gave the impression that the person speaking on it, or the persons within this, assume that a scientific theory should become a law to become factual. Right. But the difference between a scientific theory is that it gives an explanation of a thing, whereas a scientific law tells what a thing is. And typically, with scientific laws, you would see equations, mathematical equations to accompany scientific laws.
Law of gravity. We know the formula, law of gravity. So Asar, are you telling our audience that because the theory of evolution or the Big Bang theory is not a law, then it's not a scientific fact? That's basically what you're saying. Am I correct in that? That way we know where we sitting at, bro. That's all I just want the audience to know. That's all. I don't have a problem.
It's a description.
No, I'm saying no. Come on, bro. Don't do that to me. We're having a great conversation.
What you mean don't do? You ask me a question, you want me to answer it, or you want to say something else?
It's a theory. Does a theory have to become a law?
A theory doesn't. We explained that already.
That what?
That a theory doesn't have to be a law.
Thank you. Okay. Does it elevate? So one not greater than the other, correct? Correct?
No, that's not true.
Okay, there you go.
That's not
we
true.
Good. See, hey, Mac Rock, it took me a minute.
So this is what we're gonna do.
I'm good. I'm good.
You're good. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm good.
So Mac Rob, I'm gonna ask you the same question, brother, because you say that a theory is no different than the law, which it clearly is.
No,
let me finish. Then you can answer. All right. So a theory explains the how, as I said before. But a law explains the what. So if we know,
Dolly, you could cut in if you want to, brother. You could cut in too, man.
Hold up, I ain't done.
You said, man. I got to let you get in here, man.
Yeah, Dizali, you come right after Mac Rob. So if we're talking about the what, we know we're talking about the facts. When we're talking about the explanation, which is the theory, we're talking about how this person sees it or how that person sees it. So I'm going to ask you what I just asked Ankh, which everybody's probably Googled by now. Is the Big Bang theory a fact?
Thank you. As long as we good.
The Big Bang Theory is a scientific theory that is organizing the facts about the universe.
Right. So it takes facts, bro. It takes a collection of scientific facts,
It's
and
the
it
brick
organizes
house.
them.
You answering for Mac Rob.
No,
Let
he
Mac
just
be a
said
man.
it.
I just said it.
Oh, my computer went
Yeah, your
crazy.
computer. Yeah, your
Which one
computer.
did you say?
It is a scientific theory that is organizing scientific facts about the universe.
Yeah, that's
So
All
it's
right,
not
all
a
right,
fact.
all right. Hold on, Ausar.
Correct.
Let me move forward. Let me get Dizali up in here, Dizali, and then I'm gonna come to Amon Ra. Turn your camera on, Amon Ra.
Oh no, so I was really enjoying the conversation. You said I
Okay.
was sad, agreeing with something that I put in the chat. Later, I'm going to get into some of the other things that the brother Ausar touched upon, such as I think he was hinting at. We can't go with evolution for reasons such as we don't have the fossil record. You know, there's an
Transition
incomplete.
fossils.
Yeah, you know, we have other things besides the fossil record. A lot of people don't know how difficult it is for a fossil to form anyway. So we know that the fossil record is a shortcome, but there are so many other things that scientists use to validate evolution, and we can get into those later. But right now, I'm just
All right. Let me go on over to Amon Ra McCarthy. Amon Ra McCarthy, you got a question or a statement?
901. 901, what's up with it? Memphis in the house, what's up?
Can't hear you, Amon Ra. Can't hear you. We can't hear you, brother. It's the blue headphones, brother.
He said the headphones too small. Your head bigger than the headphones, Amon Ra.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you. Let's go.
All right. Me and M-Town got the same headphones on, man.
Oh man.
Tell you, it's a Memphis thing, baby.
Yeah, that's what it is. With the white tee. You hear me?
Okay.
Hey, but yeah, I think both of the guys are powerful. A powerful explanation by Ausar, and always powerful scientific explanations by Unc. No matter
you
if
gotta
we
choose
disagree.
one, brother. You gotta go with one. Both of them is not right, brother. You gotta
That's
go
the
with one.
thing.
Brother.
It's several people when you come to me. No, let me tell you how I feel. You know, the way I look at it, like it's the way 901 just described it. That's true. What he said is how the fundamental blocks make up the theory. I understand that, but you know, I'm coming from all of it was intelligent design. You know what I'm saying? So I believe it's all intelligent design above all of that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And where y'all explaining it or just trying to explain how it happened. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I feel. But I also saw, you know, I'm gonna sit back. I want to do a show about the evolution of the stereotype that black men don't care for their kids, because that's a theory as well, with a lot of facts building that house. And I like to get us together with our kids and have a big show with all men from all over that's on House of Consciousness, showing that we are with our children, and start killing some of those stereotypes and some of that evolution, because that's what I think is more important. Even if we find a common ancestor, what's that really gonna do for us today?
A lot.
You know what I'm saying? It do a lot, but what I'm saying, but not more than taking care of your own, taking care of your home.
Change the conversation.
You feel me? That's all I'm saying. That's all I wanted to say. You know, I just had to get up and get that across. You know, like I said, I rock with your science. I rock with science, period. I think God is the author of the book of life, and science is the language of on the pages. Always remember that.
I don't know about that, but
all right. Let me go on over to Rakufu.
Okay. Sa, you can. I'm unmuted. Okay, you can see me right here. When I tried to go in on the big thing, you said you couldn't see me over here.
Yeah, there you go. Hit it. Hit
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Inner studio. Okay.
Yeah, hit it.
No, it won't show me.
Yeah,
I see you. Yeah, you right there.
Oh.
You gotta turn your camera on. Turn on your camera.
Turn on my camera.
And then mute your YouTube. Mute it.
Okay, let me see.
Get off my mute.
Rakufi on the mothership, baby.
You gotta mute it. You gotta mute your YouTube.
Amon Ra, let's get together as dads. How about let's get together as parents and teach our kids the right things? How about that? That's even better.
You gotta mute it. You gotta mute your YouTube, bruh. You got put the camera close a little bit. Let me see something.
Tell them where it's at.
You got 2 windows open, I think.
Yeah, up top.
You got the YouTube on, not the StreamYard. Mute the YouTube that's on. Minimize that right there.
No, he about to kill it, yo.
Yeah.
No.
He about to kill it.
He can get rid of it. Oh, boy.
He's just trying to get his camera not working, right?
Yeah, his camera working.
Oh, you can't. What you doing, man? Go back over there. Get off that.
Thing look pretty too, man.
He killed his StreamYard.
What you doing?
Yeah, you cut off the StreamYard. You'll get it, brother. You'll get it back.
You'll get it.
All right, let me go on over to Keon. Keon, what's up, man? What do you think about these? What you hearing, brother? Have you learned anything?
I mean, I learned that we're good at definitions as black folks, boy. We know how to throw a definition out there. We know how to regurgitate a white man's note. We know how to go ahead and repeat certain things that we heard.
When you say white man's note, what are you talking about?
I didn't.
Go ahead, put it down to him.
We know how to regurgitate a couple stuff, but
you
my thing is that
note. Are you saying that the white man is the only one that's educated?
Sure, whatever you want to say, brother. At the end of the day, though, my man Unc has never been in a lab, has never proven none of this stuff, has never been under a microscope, but for some reason he believes.
No, hold on. You mean to tell me everything that Unc just showed?
Oh my goodness, we get it. You're an evolutionist. We get it, brother. Darn, can I just talk?
All right, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. We get it. We get it, Si. We get it, Si. At the end of the day, we got to stop having these arguments about belief when, again, we're talking to somebody, Unc, who's never been in a lab, never put on a white coat, never probably even seen DNA in a strand under a microscope, don't even know how DNA is actually distinguished to actually where you can see what's the comparisons between a son and a dad, don't even know that, and yet for some reason is sitting up here telling us, giving us whole presentations about how he believes evolution is real. So again, we got to stop thinking that for some reason belief is not within science. You believe this, brother. You don't know none of this. You don't know how any of this is broken down, nor can you prove none of this stuff, but yet you want us to believe the same thing you want to believe. To me, it's a religion, but for some reason we want to believe this over us being monkey people, over, a god or something like that, which to me is also the same amount of ridiculousness, but at the same time, it just is kind of off. The standard is off. But go ahead.
No, I just want to talk to you though, Keon. I get your point, yo. You think white people are the only ones capable of producing scientific literature and information, but if you just take time out of your young life, you'll see that science, proto-science actually starts in Africa amongst indigenous African people, brother. And you'll get it. It's a collection of things that lead to where we are today. Not a problem. All I want you to, the only thing I'm asking for right now, if you was listening, you may not agree about nothing I'm saying because you think it's the white man's science. That's fine, brother. What I'm saying is, but did you at least understand what I was saying? That me and Ausar are saying two different things when it comes between a scientific law and a scientific theory, right? That one is not better than the other, okay? No matter what he says. So the theory of evolution is just that. It's a well-substantiated organizing the facts of why once life get to Earth, you know what I'm saying, it's so diverse. It explains that, right? Now we back it up with the gene pool. So you don't have to have the law of evolution. That's what Ausar is trying to say. He's trying to say the fact that it's not a law in some kind of way. It's not a fact. And I'm saying, whether you believe that or not, at least you know I'm not saying that. I'm not saying what Ausar is saying. We're saying two different things. That's all I want you to understand right now, bro. You don't got to agree with me, but do you at least see that we're saying two separate things? That's all I need from you, bro. Seriously. I ain't tripping today, man.
Okay, at the end of the day, I could care less about what you and Ausar was arguing about. What I'm caring about and what I'm talking about here is about how the God killer is sitting up here telling us about certain situations or how science is supposed to go when he himself has never been under a microscope to actually prove these things. That's what we're talking about, and that's what I said. I could care less about you and Ausar's conversation. That's you and Ausar's conversation. If you got a problem with Ausar, then you go prove to Ausar that what you're saying saying is
here?
real. Prove to
Why are
me
you
that
here?
what you're talking about actually exists when you've never seen it yourself or never actually proven it within yourself. Do that. That's
Well,
what
you
our
never see
conversation is about.
Jesus, brother, but you believe he exists.
And you know
What are you
what? That's
talking about?
exactly my point. That's
Did you
exactly
walk
my
in
point, Si.
Palestine with
For
Jesus
some
Christ?
reason, you got so much
Did
common
you
sense
walk
when
in
it comes to
Palestine with
Jesus.
Jesus
You got
Christ?
so much common sense when it comes to God
Was
and
you there in
Jesus, but when it comes to
2000
you being a
BCE with
monkey
Jesus
person,
Christ, brother?
for some reason you
This
don't
is
get that same
crazy.
common sense. You don't see that we've never
This is
seen a
crazy,
monkey
bro.
person turn to a human being, and you don't say, "Oh, that doesn't make any sense." But Jesus and God, for some reason, you have all the common sense in the world. That's my only
Bro, who
point. But go
say
ahead.
that a monkey turned into a human being, brother? Who
I
just
didn't
said
say
that?
Hold
monkey. I
on,
said
hold
a
on.
monkey person because
Keyshawn,
it is a monkey
hold
person.
on,
It's
hold
not
on,
just a
Keyshawn.
monkey. I said a monkey person.
No,
It is a
Keyshawn.
monkey people.
Keyshawn.
So
Wait a minute.
let me
I got it
speak to
right
this
here.
real
Hey,
quick.
Keyshawn, this is my book I wrote, though, right?
Yeah.
And I asked that question, Keon. Look, the question is, hold on. Watch this, yo. The question, here's the question. It's in the back of the book, right here. Look, see? The question, right? It says, who makes the claim that humans come from monkeys? It
Never
says,
said monkey.
or monkey people. Put the people at the end. Who makes the
But you
claim
didn't say
that humans
monkey
come
people.
from
You
monkey
said
people?
monkey.
Let me finish. It says
Okay.
people who have not taken the time to study and understand human evolution. As a matter of fact, claims for the most part start with religious zealots and creationists who fight against science with ignorance, not facts. So, brother,
Sure.
nobody is saying what you're saying. So I agree with you that we don't come from monkey people. I totally agree with you. So the fact that you just can't be like we can't even have a good conversation, bro. Like
We
this is what I
definitely
don't
can. Look
appreciate
up a
about you.
homo. No.
No,
Because
bro, I'm not
you're
doing.
tap dancing.
I'm
At the end of
not.
the day, look up a homo
Bro.
I'm saying it wrong, but
I tell
look
you
up
what.
those
I tell you
pictures
what.
and then
No,
describe to me
I'm gonna
what
do you a
those things
solid.
are.
Hold on, I'm gonna do you
Describe to
like
me
Chris.
what that is.
You got 2 days, brother. It's gonna be me and you on this motherfucker, just like Chris.
Go ahead.
Since you
Go
done
ahead. I'm gonna
ran
do
your
the
mouth,
same
Watch your
thing to you that I
language.
you
did to you
challenged the
a month ago.
silverback.
Make
Me
you
and
admit
you.
that we come from monkey people.
Nope, you did it. Me and you, bro. 2 days from now, get your shit right, shorty. I'ma
Watch your
beat you
language.
up, young boy. I'm not even listening to a song. He's so far out the box. I want you, little dude. I want you. Since you talking to me, I'm the silverback around this motherfucker.
Go
You
easy
know
on
why
the
he
road.
wants me? You know why he wants me, Si?
And I
Because he
want you.
knows how to
Nope,
get
you
him to
talk.
admit we
Now
come
you
from
talk.
monkey people.
Now you talk so
That's
much.
why he
You talk.
wants me.
So I want you. Hey,
All
Keon,
right,
you
all
talk.
right.
Hold on, Saul. You know how we do it around here, toughest environment. You have talked so much trash,
There you
right?
Mm,
I accept your challenge. Now what? Now
Damn.
get real. Now
sure,
get real.
brother.
Now you
I'm
get
not.
to
I
see
don't
what it
care.
feel like to
You
get hit by
don't
the
scare
cat.
me.
Now you
I
need to
know
find that
your
power.
intelligence, brother. I
Okay,
know that you have the intelligence of a
you ready?
watermelon, brother.
We
I
got
could care
I'm a
less about
watermelon.
your quote unquote challenge.
So you ready? So what we doing?
I
Hold
could
on. What we
care less.
doing? What we doing? What we doing? Don't talk me to
You
death
put
now. What we
the
doing?
challenge. You say what we're doing. What are you
What we
talking
doing?
about?
What we doing? We talking about evolution in 2 days. What we doing? Me and you, bro.
Okay.
Getting hot in here, y'all.
Yeah, me and you. 2 days, yo. Right here, y'all,
Who
live. I'm
who
gonna beat
trying
the
to make
young
this
boy.
into an event?
I'm gonna
This is
show
a
y'all
simple.
that
This
young
is a
ain't
simple
already
Sunday
clapped up
service
to
for
him
me,
all the
brother.
damn time. That's all
This is
I'm
a simple
saying.
Sunday service for me,
I
brother.
know.
We about to
All
have
right, all right, all right.
tambourines
We're gonna go
playing.
ahead. Asal you wanted to say something, brother?
I'm out of here though,
Yeah.
sir. I can't talk.
All right, I got you.
Appreciate you, man.
So
Yes,
let's
sir.
look a little further because we really gotta. This number one. This is how you know they don't understand. They keep saying that I'm saying I'm against evolution. The problem is they don't understand that there are 3 types of evolution that we're discussing. I'm saying that the divergent one is not the one to tell our story because it has issues with the fossil record and the chemistry. So let me read something for y'all real quick. Fossils and chemistry would be stretching correlations with the Darwinian framework. It's a problem with the Darwinian framework. But that relationship is the substance of the new hypothesis. Chemistry is part of the logical core of biology, which will become more obvious with speciation is considered in the genomic potential hypothesis. It's not a fact. Remember, this is all still a hypothesis. It is like all of evolution about molecules that self-organize without the help of anything but other molecules. That's chemistry. Chemistry has an issue with the Darwinian framework. Let's see what it has an issue with. A cell is extremely complex by any standard, but as a unit in the path of development of large forms of life, it again submits to a simple logic. For example, anyone starting with a single cell at the origin of life will end up with the Darwinian Lamarckian model of evolution. There is no escape because a singular start must branch incessantly, goodness, I can't even speak, to give rise to the manifold forms of life all around us. Multiple origins instead would lead to a polyphyletic, a polyclonal, and a model such as the genomic potential hypothesis. Bacterial fossils are found in ancient rocks from all corners of the world. So, like I stated before, we're probably of the same substance, the same biological gene pool, which you find in different rocks that make up human beings. Like Darwin has an issue with junk DNA that has been now found to be functional. You find different things in these rock chemicals and the things that a human origin would start from, but you don't see a start at the same time. Why? Because we didn't just form from single cell, each one of us, and you'll never find a trout human. Just like you can't even find the transitional fossil from a hominid to a human, which I'll read some more on over time here. I won't get into it tonight. And this is the problem. I told them earlier, look at parallel and convergent evolution over divergent evolution, because you don't have the chemistry to make this hominid match this human. And when I read some more stuff on that, you'll be like, oh, scientists is saying that? Yeah, scientists is saying that. So you don't have the physical connection because you don't see different kinds making other kinds. You don't see a giraffe making a horse because they're different species. A rhino. I'm not done, brother D. Hold up.
I got you.
You won't see a rhino making an elephant. They're different species. Our lookership is one thing, but understanding how evolution probably took place at the biological mark would explain better the fact that you find this kind of ape at 7 million years, this one at 3 million years. And when you find us at a different amount of time, 300,000 or whatever the years are on us. Because we're made from the same biological gene pool, but we came into existence differently. And if you could do it, we had a very evil scientist try to do so, Ivanov from Russia, and he couldn't get it done. Not only could he not get it done when he used the male human with the female chimp, and when he reversed it, he couldn't do it with the male chimp and the female human, the macabre experiment. It's not possible. It's because that's not how it goes. You don't need the mathematical equations, but ain't that we always what we recite in science? If you add some math with that, it could be a possibility. Because if you talk about God and you talk about the manifestation, if you will, of existence, they all start the same. They start with the zero. The mathematical equation is still a zero, whether you use God or whether you use the Big Bang Theory. So if you don't know these things, it's better that you divulge yourself into science. One of us has a scientific certificate up here for cosmogony and cosmology, and I've delved into evolution for years. They've seen me with my microscope. Think about that for a minute. Go ahead, brother DZ.
I was just trying to get some clarification on something that you just said. You were just saying that you agree that we probably come from the same gene pool, that all organisms on this planet probably come from the same gene pool.
Not all organisms, but humans in the ape family come from the same gene pool.
All right. So I'm trying to flesh that out so I can understand what you're actually saying. And you may actually be agreeing with evolution. If you're saying that they
I do
come
agree with
from,
evolution. You what
okay,
you're doing is mixing up me not agreeing with evolution, because we've
yeah,
already stated that I agree with evolution. I've been saying it before anybody I heard talking about it. What I'm saying is the type of evolution that you're using, the divergent evolution, falls short. You need
all
to
right,
use
all right.
parallel or convergent.
All right, gotcha. So you're agreeing that apes and humans, let's say that they're different, probably came from the same gene pool. You're agreeing with that. Where did that
Yes.
gene pool come from? Does
We
that
don't know
gene
that.
pool,
That's what we're
the,
looking for now. We're looking for the
all right, all right,
origin
all
of
right,
when
all right.
humans start.
Does that gene pool share common ancestry with other organisms on this planet?
Supposedly, a lot of us are made of the same stuff. Most of the universe appears to be made of the same stuff. So we are from the universe.
All right, whoa, all right.
You
You
got some of the
going?
same elements as the sun too, right?
All right.
70%.
All right, so you're kind of on the path of those aboriginals in that you're kind of saying that we popped out the ground like mushrooms, brother.
No, I don't believe we popped out like mushrooms, but I believe that we come into existence at different times, and we don't see a sexual behavior that creates humans with some type of other ape. So I don't believe this common ancestor business where you have a humanity. Are you telling me that you believe in the humanity?
I know about that humanity thing. That were the Russians trying to make super soldiers. Actually,
Yeah.
I read about that a long time ago, and
Well, there's two.
and
Because
they
there's one in
failed.
the Darwinian model, right? So that humanity that's making that transition, that Australopithecus, do you believe that that existed and that became you?
That's what the evidence shows. I don't go by
It
personal
doesn't. We
feelings.
just
I just
covered the
go.
evidence.
No, you only covered some of the evidence, saying that we don't have fossil evidence, but you have to go deeper than that.
We
We
went into
have
chemistry
things.
as well. I just didn't go really, really deep into this yet, because I think somebody might challenge me,
All
and
right,
that's when they're going to get up on the stage, is
but
where I'm going to get you at. You
but
think
you
I'm
also
losing?
have
Picture that.
to include things such as comparative anatomy,
Right,
genetics, embryology,
mhm,
observed evolution. You have to
right.
include stuff like artificial selection. See, those are all things that you have to include when you're talking about evolution. You know what I'm
And
saying?
consider.
So maybe they don't have the fossil for that will satisfy some people, but they have other things, genetic code. You
Here,
know,
I'll help
they
you out. I'll help
yeah,
you
yeah,
out.
help me
They
please.
just did a DNA test recently, so they think that they can start to develop a lot of these things from just an arm and just some of the cells. If it's what it's supposed to be, meaning if it's supposed to be a hominid, they believe those cells will be enough for them to regenerate one, even though they haven't been able to and haven't done it yet. And we just uncovered the whole human gene pool. Now, here's my question to you. You see birds. They got the same gene pool as each other too. Which bird mixed with another bird to make a different bird?
That's not how that works.
Exactly. So
So
why
how
are you trying to apply it to humans when you don't even have the fossils to bring forth this supposed other type of human?
that's wait you're saying something totally else, brother. You're saying something
I'm
totally else.
gonna mute
You're
my mic, brother, and
trying
let you explain.
to apply something that science doesn't even say. You know, we have different species of birds because of, speciation, because different birds adapted to different environments, because of isolation. Those are
Right.
factors that go into why we have different species of bird, and that also goes into why we have different species of primates. You know, so
We covered
is
that. That would be convergent evolution.
so
Yeah.
so it is not that something had to mix with something to make something else. It is just that something adapted to its
Environment.
Correct.
environment,
And they grew
and
parallel.
over
Yeah.
years,
It turns and
they
it looks
were
similar, don't it?
isolated,
Yeah.
diverged from whatever else. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
it
saying?
looks similar, right? So when this is why I asked you earlier when I put up the evolution tree, when I was showing the marmot and the other thing, when I was showing the manatee and the other thing, when I was showing the hyena and the wolf, they're two different families, and a couple of them don't have a common ancestor. So when you make this statement, they have a common ancestor, you make a mistake that evolution still has yet to prove, which is why it's a theory and not a law. Suggestive thinking is lookership when you say, well, they do look alike. That's probably the same thing. But a whale and a shark are two different things. One is a mammal, the other is this. And these are
Yes.
the things that we're talking about scientifically, where people keep making the mistake, and we have to stop making that mistake.
But see, you understand that, all right, you just said that a whale is a mammal and a shark is a fish, and they both live in the ocean and they both have fins. That is an example of convergent evolution, right?
Yes.
Two things, they have a similar body structure, but they're very separate,
Distinct.
right?
Correct. Correct.
That's
So
right.
I don't
Pressures from their environment shape them.
yes.
So they look similar.
Mm-hmm.
No mating between a common ancestor seems to be in a fossil record, or that we know that happened, or that we know we, even with all the science we have today, we can make happen. This is why when they was laughing at the humanity and he was like, we couldn't even make one of these. We couldn't. This is why we were laughing, because you can't even make one of these. Shout out to my brother Due Diligence, who was on there with me in Pan African James. So when you make that mistake, you think that divergent evolution causes everything that looks similar. But the fact is, divergent evolution isn't proving much. I see other people on the panel. I go ahead, brother.
Nah, go ahead. Y'all having a good conversation. Shit, I'm
Well, I
listening.
want to
Yeah,
ask.
go ahead.
Hold
I
on.
want to add,
Hold on, y'all. Let me get Revelation in the building, and I got you, Apostle, next. Revelation ain't speak yet.
Peace and blessings to everybody on the panel.
Peace, brother.
Ausar, MK. I just want to start by saying very good presentation, my brother. I really
Thank
came
you, family.
to try to get the Ankh, but he's not here. So let me first start by saying that, a well-organized lie will always defeat a disorganized truth. And
Every
Assad, you
time.
organized your truth very well. So I want to thank you for that. All right.
Thank you,
I
family.
do think that if you took it under the angle of the instead of law versus theory, it should have probably been theory versus fact. The reason I'm saying that is because when you do law versus theory, you kind of end up in a conundrum because, okay, let's deal with the law of gravity. I mean, it exists. Nobody can really question it. However, there's people and there's ways that you can defy gravity every single day in some unexplainable ways that actually happen. So does that make gravity a theory now that this exists? So it's something, it's like I said, it puts you in a conundrum. And something like flat earth. Some people think the earth is flat. Some people think the earth is round. So now what is this? Would you call this a theory? Because you definitely couldn't call it, a fact. No one knows. So I just think there's a lot of things that, we're probably just never supposed to know, or even until we find out and we get to know what it is, then we can call it an actual fact. Until then, it would remain a theory. And the fact would actually be the heavier, the heavier subject.
Yeah.
But I really, really, really enjoyed this. I wish Ankh was here because, like I said, I really would have liked to talk to Ankh about this. And that's like my 2 cents, huh? Yeah.
I appreciate it. So let me ask you, brother Revelation. When it comes to the origin of humans, there are several theories, right?
Several, yes, sir.
Yeah. When it comes to the origin of the universe, there are several theories, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you have all of these theories, there are explanations of what we see happening, but they're theories because some of the things in them are reaches about the actual happening, meaning we can't explain everything to a T. So the fact that some people think there's a multiverse, the fact that some people think string theory is the case, and the fact that some people think that there's a big bang that just caused everything from a negative universe into a positive because protons just pop, is how these things come into existence. But really, we know there's 3 different things explaining our universe, and only one of them is right. Or a mixture of those different theories may come together to be right. But it's not a fact. What is the fact is the law that explains what we can physically see and what we physically know from the experimentation, right? So even though science likes to say that the law is not above the theory, science also states that the law is what we move on before we take the theory, and we have to decide which theory fits the best for the explanation. This is why you don't hear much about the aquatic water ape, because it was debunked before, and now they're trying to bring it back into use. But I definitely feel you concerning.
All right, Apostle.
Yeah, thanks, man. This is kind of like for D's. Use your mind a little bit, man. Critical thinking. You know, our point of view is that everything we see is based off intelligent design. Something greater than us, something smarter than us created everything that we see, and we can see that and explain it through intelligence. Do you believe we're the only beings that exist in the universe? That on Earth, on this alone planet, out of all the planets exist, we are all alone. There's life only here. Do you believe that?
I'm glad that you asked me that, brother. If I believe it or not, I don't have proof for it. That's the difference between being scientific and having a belief, or being pseudo, as we say. Even if I do believe there are other life forms, I have no proof for it. While science provides us with proof. That's what people have to understand. Proof and evidence.
Understand. So, but everything starts with a thought or belief first before then proof can be established. But you have to start somewhere in order to say something is real or something is not real. Everything begins with a thought.
That would be an observation. So you would start with what you observe.
This microphone that I'm speaking into, right? The premise of this microphone existed in someone's mind before it existed so that I can use it. Somebody sat back and thought, how can I get my voice from this point to another point? Oh, I know how. I create this. That's part of science, is it not?
So observation. So yes, things start with an observation, and then you make you make educated.
Okay. So let's say God. Don't put no other name on it. A being somewhere. Let's say the Anunnaki came here, and when they came here, there were no humans. But there was something here that was very close to something they had in mind that they decided to add their essence with.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Are you following?
I do not.
Okay. You don't follow.
No, respectfully, I do not.
All right. We say we came from some type, science is saying we came from some type of ape that was not quite the same as what we are today, but it functions somewhat similar.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Hey, man, I'm trying to get somewhere with y'all. I'm trying to find common ground. This is what we did in school. This is called a practical argument based on critical thinking. I'm trying to come up reason with
Let
you
them know.
on what other hypothesis could possibly exist for what we refer to as God. That when something came here, say 300,000 years ago, they saw a particular ape walking around. They couldn't talk, but still had the motor skills to perform certain activity that they themselves didn't want to perform. But all they had to do was take a little bit of their essence, their God gene, and add it to Homo erectus to create what is Homo sapien sapien. Now, I'm not saying that happened, but there's people that believe that happened. And that's their explanation for God. People like
Talking
Black
about the
Jesus
Anunnaki.
will go to the 6th chapter of Genesis and explain that about the Elohim that came down and made it with human beings and created offspring. B'nai Elohim, B'nai, the sons of God.
You know what, Apostle?
What?
What you're talking about, I've read about all of that. I don't really have a view on it, but my main point is that even if I want to rock with that, I don't have any proof for it. While this other thing has so much proof. So
What?
being
What
a
other thing has so much proof?
evolution, science,
How?
it has so
Explain
much
how
proof.
we're here then, opposed to other than we got it. We got
Can I
combined
ask you a
answer.
question, brother?
Explain. Hold on. Let me get this question out first, brother. Explain to me then how we exist, and that creature no longer exists, or those creatures no longer exist.
Well,
And who was behind it, or did it just happen?
okay, as far as the creature no longer existing, I think it's something like 99% of the animals on this planet have gone extinct, actually. So, there's good reasoning as to why those animals, those people, whatever, no longer exist at this time. 99% of the animals that ever existed has gone extinct. Um, as far as the other question, it goes more into philosophy, which I am fine with. But we're talking science here. We have to have evidence. So I have some of
Can I
those wild
can I
thoughts
please ask a
that,
question?
yeah, go ahead, bro.
Thank you so much, and I'm sorry for cutting you across. Okay, I
You all
apologize
right?
for that.
You good? Go ahead, bro.
But
Who's this? Revelation?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, Revelation.
Because he's saying that we're dealing with science and we need evidence and proof. And I understand that. I can work with that. I have no problem with that. But how do you reconcile the scientific experiments where there's proof on both sides? Case in point, the flat earther experiment as opposed to a round earther, because both of them have proof. They would show you, listen, I have all this scientific evidence that the earth is round. And then the flat earther would come and say, I have all this scientific proof that the earth is flat. Now, how do you reconcile
That's
something
easy. That's
as
easy.
this?
You have to vet the evidence. That's what you have to do. You have to vet the evidence. You have to weigh them, and you will
It's
get your answer.
2025.
You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean evidence been vetted?
So
Is
yeah,
he asleep?
so
No, I'm right here.
Globe Earth has a preponderance of evidence, while flat Earth, those people are relegated to the shadowy pseudo realms. You know what I'm saying? Globe Earth has actually produced more that we use every day than flat Earth. See, we as black people, we have to learn how to avoid the darn flim flam. You have on one side flat earth or people who don't want to rock with evolution, while on the other side you have science. Which side has
No, no,
given?
no, 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 no. I agree. I
Science is
agree
on both
about
sides.
not being able to. But I'm talking specifically with science, where there's two scientific experiments, for both sides, and I just use
Right.
the flat earth as an example. But because no, I understand what you're saying too. You weigh it out and probably see who has the most evidence. I get that. I can rock with that. I have no problem. But you have to, acknowledge that is a reality where they can do scientific experiments. And if we're talking about proof and evidence for a thesis, you can get that on both sides. That's a
Well,
reality as well. So I don't know how
well,
you reconcile that.
yeah, that speaks to his point. Is you have to know how to understand what evidence looks like. To the common person, it's hard for them to discern what that evidence looks like because they're not trained in the field of scientific study. And that's no knock at people. It's just something people don't do every day. We typically use our common senses to do the basic things that we need to do just to survive. But when you're using the scientific method, you're going beyond your senses to try to understand what you're actually observing. For example, and I always use this example. I was driving a car one day and the moon was just as big as bright as you can see. And my 5-year-old was in the back seat and she says, "Daddy, look, the moon is following us." Right? So if this 5-year-old does an experiment to prove that the moon is following us, which is number one, incorrect, and number two, meeting her already preposed bias, she's going to be absolutely incorrect. And me as her father, knowing that the moon is outside of the atmosphere, and I hope we can all agree, I would have to explain to her why the moon is not following her and why it appears that way, because we now have science, now have a preponderance of evidence to explain why the moon is not actually
Good luck
following
with
you.
that one.
So now, and let me continue on. So when I hear y'all talk about this conversation on evolution, I think there is a misunderstanding of the mechanisms that actually help human evolution to take place. When somebody says, why the organisms that were here 500,000 years ago no longer here, well, that's for multiple reasons. It could be natural selection. It could be genetic drift. It could be gene flow. It could be sexual selection. These are the mechanisms that are taking place in the process of human evolution. Meaning, you could take an organism that is in Africa, place it in North America 100,000 years ago, and if those two organisms are separated in different ecosystems, they're going to develop along different paths. And as the time between the two separate, so will speciation occur. That so much so that these two organisms that used to be the same will be extremely different to the point where they cannot mate with each other. Now, of course, it takes more than 100,000 years. I'm just using that example so that people will understand why humans can't mate with a chimpanzee and have a whatever the heck that is. But there's a process here. Like chimps have 48 chromosomes. Humans have 46. 22 of those, we have 23 pairs, right? 2 of those are sex cells. All right, they're haplotypes from one parent, one from your mom, one from your father, and then the other 44 or 22 pairs are what we call autosomes. Okay, so it's just basic foundational misunderstandings of biology, and I would highly employ everybody on the panel, everybody in the listening audience, to just read the basics. This is not a difficult
Isn't that
thing.
what we call the
And
missing link?
Hold on.
To go in further, you can accept human evolution and still believe in God. You can accept human evolution and still follow the overwhelming evidence of the theory of evolution, which is a theory and also a fact.
All
I've been
right.
saying that all the time. I rock with evolution.
All right, Apostle. I disagree with you on that, Rob. You can't accept evolution and still believe in God. I got to disagree with you because God is the one that does everything. Be quiet. I'm going to tell you. Because y'all believe that God does everything. God is the one that does these things, not evolution. And I'm glad Suntan is here. Hold your head up, Suntan. I'm glad you're here Read that on the screen, brother.
Man,
Unmute
this
yourself.
evolution stuff is stupid. I mean, it doesn't make
Man, this evolutionary stuff is stupid. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Now, I proved my point. Remember, I said earlier, Naphtali is a Hebrew Israelite. I told you earlier that Abrahamic faith believers will never get it. This is what I've been trying to tell you, brother. They will never get it because they believe in that God is responsible for all of this stuff, not evolution. Not evolution. It's God. You see? So, I mean, I could go on and on. I could get Back up here. I could get Daniel Allah up here. I could get all of these. I could probably get I don't know, Brother Lot. He's a Muslim. He's going to give all the credit to Allah. So Abrahamic faith believers will never agree to evolution.
Sorry, you're a creationist, though.
Hold on, brother.
Go ahead.
Hold on, brother. Ausar, you went already, right, Ausar?
No, I was going to say something.
Oh, yeah, brother.
You see me raise that hand. Here's the thing. It can get really dicey and overly complex. The simple fact is we don't have the fossil record, we don't have a chemical record, and we don't have a math record. They always put math and science.
One at a time.
Yeah, everybody chill for a second. If you don't have a math record, that's an issue, but it's not necessary in this case. But a more simpler explanation would be one of the other methods of evolution, such as, and I'll just simplify it, maybe the sun was hotter in ancient times because there was more grass and what have you, and so it produced an ape and it has hair. As it got later in the stages of 3 million years and the next evolution of this supposed hominid came out, it was able to walk upright. It had less hair because the sun wasn't as glaring. We got a little further away from it. And then now we're humans at the time of our evolution. We all come from the same biogenical gene pool, but we're developing at different stages and times. The gorilla is older than man. The chimpanzee is older than man. A monkey is older than man. It would only make sense that if they're not mating to create each other because we don't have a fossil record to prove it, that it just sounds like the environment changed as it produced another being, which would be the human. Not all this extra, well, see, this mating and this, well, we don't believe in the humanity, but there is a common ancestor. If you believe in a common ancestor, you got a humanity at some point in time. Talk to me.
Hey,
you don't believe in a common ancestor, sir?
No, I believe in parallel and convergent evolution. They're different.
Okay. Hey, hold on. Yeah, go ahead, say something.
That's what I was saying, Sai, about when it comes to the Christians and this evolution thing, because see, the Christians believe in the Hebrews or whatever you want to say, the Abrahamic faith, believe that God created everything. So that parallels the evolution. You follow me? That's all I was saying.
Okay.
To that.
Hey, Rakufu, I think you got to turn off one of your mics. Watch this. Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Testing 1, 2. See what I'm saying? You got to echo. I do it. But you just learning.
I got to echo?
Yeah, you got to echo.
Damn. Well, how do I turn it? What do I do?
You got to put them on mute.
Right. You got to
please be quiet about it.
You got to close one of the windows.
Do you have a page
open? Nope, I only got the stream yard window open.
Okay, you got to go into your settings on StreamYard.
Okay.
You see that?
Audio, visual background.
There you go. Go into the audio. Click the thing with echo cancellation.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Yes. intestines. There you go. See that?
That's
There
it.
you go. I'm getting better at this here.
Y'all didn't put me on the
I'm getting better at this. I love it. I love it. That's probably what Apostle had to do too when his joint was going off. Yeah. Okay. Now what you're gonna have to learn is how to share your screen, brother. You're gonna have to learn how to share your screen, and it's gonna come easy. Once you get that, we're gonna be rolling, brother. We going in.
Okay, bottom line. Now,
All right, let me go on over. Huh?
I wanted to ask the question.
Yeah, ask your question.
His volume kind of low, son.
It is? Oh.
I can hear him. I got a sound board, so I can turn them up and turn them down.
Okay, cool.
I'm good.
Can you hear me,
Hey, you know what? Go back to your sound board again. Hold on. Go back over there again. Click on settings.
Okay, audio.
Yeah, go to audio. Look all the way down where it says mic volume. You see that?
I put it to 200.
Yeah, turn it up.
Is that better, everybody?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Boy, this spaceship is dope. Hey,
connection, baby.
All right. So my question is to anybody on the panel. There was originally Pluto was considered the ninth planet. They said it's not the ninth planet. It's just some type of body of rock or whatever. Now, but in the originality, it was the ninth. But the sun wasn't the first. The sun would be considered the zero. The 9 planets, the 0 to 9. Is that a mathematical, what I want to say, coincidence? Or did someone think of that to make up our number system of 0 to 9?
Interesting.
You froze up after you said 0 on my computer. So you say the math part again?
Okay, so my question was how we have 0, which would be the sun, and the 9 planets like Saturn, Mars, Jupiter, blah, 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 Earth, everything. Is that how they came up with the mathematical understanding of 0 to 9 or another way?
Yeah, they came up with that another way. Yeah, it was actually math is essentially where it began is Arabic, so it had nothing to do. They didn't even know the planets existed at the time that they came up with that.
The 0 comes with the Arabic and he's saying that because the Arabs make the 0. You'll notice when we count in Africa, like the Oshango bone and the older bone, you start with 1 always. They knew what 0 was or what it meant when you had nothing, but they always start the math with 1.
Well, I'm sorry. Why would Kwesi show Ashraf Kwesi one time in Kemet with a group of I don't know how many African Americans? He always takes trips over there with him. But he was in the temple and he showed on the wall where the snake was biting its tail. He showed a snake standing straight up, all the way from 0 to 9 in numeral form that we got today in Kemet on some temple.
The snake
that's wrong, brother.
Represents infinity.
No, that's not wrong that he showed that. I'm just saying.
No, brother, it's wrong because it's not 0. It's infinity, but it's not 0.
Yeah.
Okay, we call it infinity, but I'm just saying that symbol. Yeah.
So that symbol would represent, like I said, is infinity. It would be more like Het and Hehu.
All right, real quick, Cube. Do you have a question or a comment or a statement, brother?
Yeah, I just got a quick comment because you said earlier that that you don't believe that a person can believe in God and also can accept evolution. I actually somewhat disagree with that. I think that you can believe in a God and accept evolution, but you cannot believe in the Abrahamic faith, like the God of the Bible, the God of the Quran. Right. You can't believe in that God because that God has a specific order of how creation came about.
But that's what I'm talking about, though. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Can you agree with me then?
Yeah, he fired
yeah, from that point of view, absolutely.
Yeah, you agree with me, man.
But both of y'all are wrong because I got proof of it. You're wrong.
Yeah, because I mean, wait a minute. So what specifically in the process of evolution goes against the 6-day or 7-day period? Like what?
You two dogmatic.
Everything.
Well, see, here's the thing.
What do you mean by everything?
Yeah, I can explain it to you.
Everything.
That's complete. Go ahead, Q.
Yeah, I can explain it to you. So when you read in the Bible, when it has the 7-day creation, it talks about it's making man from dirt. Which that's not the case in evolution. So if you believe in the God of the Bible,
has nothing to do with creation.
Hey, brother,
Stop cutting them off.
cut him off because he's not.
Beyond,
Okay,
that's
whatever,
why you
bro.
don't know nothing, brother. That's why you don't
That's
know
why
nothing.
you don't know nothing because you
You got
don't even know
two ears and
evolution has
one
nothing
mouth.
to do with
You got two
creation.
ears and one
That's
mouth
two
for a
different
reason, brother.
conversations. You don't know nothing, brother.
You got two ears and one mouth for a reason, brother.
I got evidence. That's all I'm saying.
You don't have no evidence, Apostle. Q.
I got evidence.
Let's
I
see
got
the
evidence.
Then ask
Right.
the
So
white man in chat
Apostle,
GPT
man.
is evolution has something
Stop,
to do with
man.
creation then.
I gotta stop. Go ahead, Q. Break it down.
Right. So according to the Bible, when it talks about the creation of man, even when it talks about the creation of earth, those things are antithetical to what evolution is. So anybody believing in the God of the Bible, they cannot accept evolution because against it. Now, if you believe in, like, maybe you're a deist or you have some kind of nebulous God that you believe that created everything and put everything in motion, that doesn't have a name, you can't explain, but you just kind of feel it's there and believe in it. Yes, believing in that God would allow you to accept evolution. But when it comes to ancient people writing things on paper and people are now believing them today, when the God of the Bible gives you an exact order when things and how things were created, no, you can't.
And you
So
know
now,
what?
Q, believing in the Bible, do it makes you shun certain knowledge and keep away from certain knowledge?
Yeah, it can if you allow it to. It
No,
definitely
it will.
Yeah.
Which mean it can. A real believer who really believe in the Bible, who really follow this book, it will make you automatically shut down from any information entering into your heart and mind if it's saying something contrary to the Bible belief.
But see, here's the thing though, and we have to be honest with this. No one actually believes how you just described it. Nobody believes like in the Bible like that. People
Literally.
like nobody believes it like that. Like when you look up and you see like this person, what is it, Ezekiel or something, went up to the sky in a whirlwind and Jesus died. Like you even heard Yara the
No,
other day.
I believe that.
No,
Ask him.
listen.
Brother.
Hold on, listen. He doesn't believe that he can pray to God and manna will come from the sky. He doesn't believe that he can pray to God and he can put his
Ask him,
hand.
do he believe that story, brother? That's all you got to do.
Okay, Apostle, do you believe that you can get bit by a snake and pray to God and then it'll go away?
No. Give him a story of the
I just
Bible.
gave him. That is from the Bible. That's
No,
exactly.
But don't say me.
Explain it. Like
Bible,
who?
that's why he asked that. That's what I'm talking about.
Who was it
No,
that
but I believe in the story. Yes.
See, told you.
No, I'm not asking. Do you believe in the story? I'm asking. Do you
Brother,
believe
I
that
don't tempt God. I don't tempt.
That's not what I'm
I would
asking.
never say that.
That's why it's pointless talking to these people when it
I
comes to
don't
you
never
gotta make
say
a
that. But
statement
do I believe it happened?
because he's changing what I'm
Yes.
saying.
He
Do I
said
believe
yes.
God rained down manna? Yes.
Told
Do I
you.
believe that God
No, but
that
I'm
they
not
made it
asking.
possible?
That's not what I'm
That
saying.
they crossed the Red Sea? Yes. Do I believe that Christ died and on third day he got up and rose from the grave and now he sits at the right hand of the Father? Yes. Do I believe he's going to
Apostle,
return?
him saying, "Do you believe in the story?" and you being able to do it is two different things.
Thank you.
Look,
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying do you believe in the story. That's
don't
why I told
have no power to do any of that.
Wow.
So you remember what Q just said?
Stop, y'all. Stop for a minute. He said he don't have no power to do any of that. So when God said, when God said he created you in his image and likeness, you don't think that's giving you power, brother?
Not the power to do what he did. No.
In his image and in his likeness? What is the likeness?
Not the power.
Apostle, what is the likeness? What's that part? What that mean? I looked it up already in Hebrew.
Characteristics. What is the likeness?
All right, there you go. There you
That's
go.
a likeness.
There you
That's
go.
a likeness. Right.
Okay,
that picture I drew of Nepal. That's a likeness.
Apostle.
With the Bible, you wouldn't have a show.
Hold up. Remember what he said in the
You wouldn't have
beginning?
anything to talk about. This is how we know the Bible is real. None of you. Naphtali. Oh man, Naphtali funny, boy. Oh man.
Hey, Q.
All right,
Q, are
yes.
you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, so Q, what you said earlier was right because it says the Bible and the theory of evolution and are generally seen as conflicting views on the origin of life and the universe. The Bible, particularly Genesis, describes a direct divine creation of all things in a relatively short period. Evolution, as understood by science, proposes that life on Earth developed over billions of years through natural process like natural selection and mutation. Many
Exactly.
Christians reconcile these views through interpretations like theistic evolution, which suggests God
So
used.
that means he's wrong.
Huh?
Because many
Exactly what I was
Christians,
about to say.
just like it says, many Christians
Never finished it. You
hate
cut me off.
their
He
interpretation.
was wrong 3 points ago.
Hold up.
That's why he cut
Hold
you
up.
off.
Yeah, you cut me off. It just says these views through interpretations like theistic evolution, which suggests God used evolutionary process to bring about life. So
Thank you.
go ahead now. Go ahead, Apostle.
Well, hold on. Let me respond to that real quick
Oh,
since you were talking to
Q
me
was wrong.
specifically.
That's what I'm saying. My
Thank
sister
you.
was a scientist. She had a project that went up on a space shuttle. She test. This came up in space shuttle creation. She sent a plant up in space. As far as I know, it's still there to see how it will grow in zero atmosphere, in zero temperature. That's her. She created that. She was a scientist. She's also a minister. She's dead. She's also a minister of the gospel who testified that was filled with the Holy Ghost. You got Dr. Cole. He's a scientist and he's a believer in the Bible. You got the dean at Howard University who's a minister and a science professor. He's the dean of Howard University. So all of y'all, you don't know what you're talking about.
No, you can. I never said you could, but you'll be a hypocrite.
You're
Well,
not
let
being
me
a
respond to that
hypocrite.
real quick. Let me
You're
respond to
not
that real
being a
quick.
hypocrite. A hypocrite is
All right,
someone
hold on,
that
Apostle.
is
Hold on now.
pretending.
Hold on.
Why don't we chat GPT? How does evolution distinguish itself from creation? Chat GPT that. This is just simple definitions.
That's a
Evolution
mother man
has
just
nothing to do
giving
with
his opinion.
creation.
Apostle, you
This
cutting
is
everybody
dumb.
off, Apostle.
Then
Yeah,
mute me, man.
yeah. Let me just
All right, go
respond
ahead,
to what
go ahead, go ahead.
Rakufu. Yeah, let me respond to Rakufu said. So, you're 100%
You can
right
go
about
next,
that.
Brother Suntan.
Right. So you're 100% right about that because in the Bible it says 7 days. Even when they try to go and stretch out to try to say that a day with the Lord is 1,000 and you get 7,000 days or 6,000 days, it still doesn't add up to the 4.2 billion years that we know emphatically without a shadow of a doubt that that's how old the earth is. Number one.
We don't know
Number
that.
two,
That's
and
a
number
guess.
two,
Apostle.
and number two,
Discipline, brother. Discipline.
and number two, spaceships and plants, that has nothing to do with evolution. So it doesn't matter if your sister were a scientist. You weren't a scientist. You haven't looked into the information. You just come in with your thoughts and pseudo ideas, brother. And like Ankh said, he actually gave you a very, very, very good advice. And he said, just take a look, be quiet. If you want to talk about the Bible, that's cool. But when it comes to this science, it's just not there for you, brother. Like, leave that
Brother, he
alone
didn't
for real.
tell me to be quiet.
Yo,
Stop that, son. Don't do that.
Yo, come on, brother. Damn, Apostle. All right. Let me go on over to Suntan.
Oh, brother, you're not going to let me respond to him?
I'm gonna come to you, but I had Suntan next, brother. You can respond after Suntan.
Well,
You know you wouldn't do that. You would respond immediately. You know that, son.
It's a discrepancy because let's just be real with each other, y'all. We
Hey,
know.
Suntan, hold on. Suntan, let Apostle go, man.
Okay,
Let him
go ahead. Go ahead, Apostle.
Go ahead. You right. Go ahead.
He added to what the conversation was between me and him. He trying to make it look like something negative. It was a positive exchange between me and him. He just asked me to take a look at it based on my intelligence. And I agreed that I would. Because I'm like that and don't have no problems like that. But don't tell me he told me to be quiet. Because he didn't. And don't sit there and address my sister in a matter of that. But that's her. No. is more than her. She's one of hundreds of thousands of people that are educated and still believe in God. So you don't have to believe that 6 days is 6 literal days. You don't have to believe that Adam was created separate like that, man, because I believe he was created on the first day. Period. The 6th day, excuse me. When he said, let us make man in our image. That's when he was created. It's not a separate creation. So no, man, don't do that, man. You can't frame what I believe under your little thoughts, man, and your thinking. I can express what I believe.
All right, Suntan, it's on you.
All right, well, here's my thing right here, because like I said, I do have, my beliefs, and I think it's a supreme being. But you run into a problem when we say how great our Lord is, and he created everything. You can't just make it the way you want to make it. He said he created everything. So that means if he created everything in life and he broke a piece of his rib and made woman, that's all in the narrative, right? So how can evolution be through the rib? They don't match up. So when you are under the Abrahamic faith, then you have to be blind to evolution because it don't match up. Chronology doesn't match up. Like
it doesn't have to.
Apostle, nobody spoke when I let you speak, brother.
I know. Hey, I'm speaking very quietly to myself.
No, because you got your mic on. Your mic is on.
I'll mute myself.
All right, go ahead. Finish up, Sunset.
Yeah, and without making a long, drawn-out statement, it's really simple and it don't take no scholar, I've been telling people the Lord way is easy, man. People makes it hard. We understand the narrative. Adam and Eve, the 7th day, we understand that. If you read it, you understand it. So how could that, and I would love for someone from the Abrahamic faith to tell me, how could that match up with evolution? Because it don't sit well with me. That's why I sit alone and I sit whole with my thoughts and my spirituality, because I'm not going to involve myself in something that's divisive to me. If that's divisive, if the Lord created the earth in the 7 days, he created everything. That's what right now, the 2025. So where do evolution fit in at? It's chronology. Evolution had to be before the creation of everything, or the Egyptians, the whole Africa, all of that stuff had to be first before that, then Adam and Eve. How it can be confusing. So I would just stay steadfast in what I believe, that it's the ultimate creator, right? And because I don't go for the scientific fact of evolution, I don't dip that way. I just dip it because we are too spectacular. Every human in here has some sort of talent and some sort of greatness about themselves. And I don't think that just came by, just came out of poof nowhere. I think it's a powerful force that made everything, and evolution can't be with the Abrahamic faith. It just don't match up. My rest.
Hey, Rockful. I need you to do something real quick, just to show something. I need you to go and check out and look up, was the step pyramid here before the Bible, the King James Bible?
Okay.
The step pyramid.
Right. See, that's
before any of the Bibles, before the oldest Bible. Let's go there. They're going to say, well, there was an older Bible. Well, let's go there.
First Bible wasn't written until 398. Yes.
The King James Bible wasn't created and done until 1611.
I'm already hitting feelings.
We know
answer your question. You're not hitting no feelings.
Stop, man. I'm already crushing your heart.
I got it right here. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, let's go. Hey, yo, Apostle.
Yes, the steps.
Hey, hold on.
That's dumb.
Do you know how to click on it, right? And then if you go down where it says present.
I did it on my phone.
All right, go ahead.
Next time I'm gonna do it the way you said it. Okay, but it says, yes, the step pyramid was built significantly before the Bible as we know it. The earliest step pyramid, the pyramid of Ausar at sa.neter, dates back to around 2630 BCE. Let's see. While the oldest parts of the Bible are believed to have originated much later, even the oldest parts of the Bible, such as some of the Torah, are thought to have been written.
All right, that's enough. I want you to go further. Was the step pyramid here before Adam and Eve?
Ooh, let me see.
Yeah, that's deep.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Dumb. That's dumb.
Was the step pyramid here before Adam and Eve? Let me see.
What source you gonna ask them? Like they know the date of Adam and Eve.
Hold on.
That's childish, man. I mean, this is childish 101.
When we doing
This
chronology.
is childish 101.
Before
I'm saying if we doing chronology, why is it childish?
Right.
Because there's no way to say it when Adam and Eve was created.
It is a way.
No.
Then the concept of Adam and Eve is literally the beginning of time. So I mean, what are we talking about? This is ridiculous.
Okay,
I asked that question. It's crazy.
The pyramid of Ausar in Egypt was built significantly before the Bible figures Adam and Eve was even born.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
So at this point, you can stick that shit in your ass, Keon.
What you can do is stick that shit in his ass. Look at the source and where it came from.
Stop.
Because there's no way possible.
When
was that source written?
All right.
Hey, Ausar, I just want to say,
when was that source written, brother?
Let me say this, Pastor, now I'll answer. For us to be able to do math, everybody on a basic level can do addition and subtraction. As you go up in the different mathematical situations like division, multiplication, division, fractions, what is it, pi, and things of that nature, the circle gets smaller like a pyramid. The bottom base, you got a massive amount of people believing in the Bible. But to go all the way up the top of that pyramid to that eye, some of these people don't got the wherewith.
The wherewith. First of all, you got to show me that man made it.
Are black first. We got to have that.
You got to show me even that man made the pyramid.
Y'all got to prove to the white man that the Egyptians was even black first before we even had this conversation.
The craziest thing.
What about common sense, Keon?
Keon crazy, man.
He young, dog.
That's that question is the most
stupid source, bro. We can't take it.
That's not even educational to ask that question.
Look at the apostle getting all bent up out of shape. You can't even do that, bro.
Man. You know, that's like, I would even say the pyramids were probably created before the first writing. Writings, period. But that doesn't mean the story of the Bible. We know that it existed orally.
Yeah, he's losing it. Apostle losing it.
We know that. We know that. I'm not losing it. That's retarded. Even ask that question, let alone believe the source that you read. It's retardation. Mental retardation.
Why is that retardation, brother? Seeking information.
Because there's no way possible. No one living today can even imagine when Adam and Eve were created.
That's not true.
They weren't even created at all.
The story, they telling you the story is a made-up story. So they say
That's not what it's saying. That's not what it's saying.
They are telling you that the story was made up and the pyramids was built before the made-up story, brother.
The person that wrote that doesn't know that. He didn't see the pyramids and when they were built.
Man.
Maybe they just didn't know how to write for 500 years. Like, what are we talking about?
Go back to that.
Let me
Tell
ask
me who wrote it.
Apostle,
When did he write it?
Is Lilith a real person, and was she before Eve? And that was
I don't know nobody named Lilith.
Okay, I wanted to ask if you ever even heard that before.
I heard of a fake goddess named Lilith.
And they said in the Bible, they said they even bring her up in the Bible.
No, they don't.
It was Adam's first wife, supposedly. Don't nobody believe that, brother. That's just agnostic BS. We don't.
Nah, it says the Queen of Heaven.
No, I'm talking about that witch they talk about. They talk about Lilith in the Bible.
Yeah, she became a witch, but she became a witch after she went against her husband.
But please tell Apostle it's in the Bible that
no, it's not in the Bible. It's not in the Bible
right now.
Hey, only thing I can say is this here. If you can sleep good at night and you know what we doing now, this conversation builds up Apostle and Keon's faith, and that's great. And hey, y'all just stick with what y'all believe.
Hey, I got it right here, Apostle Isaiah.
Read it.
Isaiah,
read it.
Lilith is mentioned as a creature inhabiting desolate.
No, go to the scripture and read it.
Yeah, we need book, chapter, verse, brother.
I need chapter, verse.
I've given it to you. Isaiah 34:14.
And Isaiah 34:14 is going to say that Lilith was Adam's wife, or what is it going to say?
I'm not going to say what it say. You're going to read it. We're going to see.
Because you don't actually got nothing to stand on. Okay, so
Isaiah 34.
Can y'all be quiet so he can read it? Why y'all?
I'm gonna get it.
Why you scared? Just let him go ahead and get it, but let him read it. Go ahead, read it, brother. Right, you there?
Yeah, no, I thought it was. It was
you.
Apostle. Ain't you reading it?
No, you read it. Go ahead.
I didn't even have it. I'm gonna pull it up. Let me see. Isaiah 34:14 describes creatures of the desolate wilderness, including Lilith, finding rest there. The verse paints a picture of a ruined and desolate Edom, where various wild animals and Lilith are depicted as inhabiting the ruins.
You just stabbed Apostle and Keon because they said it's not in the, because you said it wasn't in the Bible.
It don't say Lilith.
Bro, stop this because you
read it again. It don't say that.
Go ahead.
14. And a wild beast of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the islands, and Satan shall cry to his fellow and stretch out also.
What scripture you reading, Apostle? What scripture?
Isaiah 33, 34, and 33.
No, you're not reading 30. Oh, you 34.
He's reading it. It's 34:14. He just messed. He's 34:14.
34:14.
Okay, so here's the question, Apostle.
It don't say Lilith. Don't change the subject.
No, I have a question.
It doesn't say Lilith
for you.
No,
I have a question for you.
The sa.neter just set off bombs and said you destroyed us.
So listen, I'm asking.
I'm listening to the Bible. Listen to the Bible.
Importance next to it.
Verse 14.
Listen.
And a wild beast of the desert shall also meet with a wild beast of an island. And the stray or the sentry shall cry to his fellows, and stretched out also shall rest there, and they shall find herself a place of rest.
Herself is Lilith.
That's bullshit.
That's what you said.
This does not say Lilith.
It says right here, Isaiah 34:14. In some
it does not say Lilith.
Listen, you got the wrong translation. In some
King James Bible,
a creature called Lilith. The Hebrew word Lilith is often translated as night creature.
You are wrong.
Or screech out.
Wait, Apostle, he's not. Wait, Apostle, he's not wrong.
I don't want to put you in the back, Apostle. Please let the man speak, man. Damn, I know it hurts.
Wait, hold on. Apostle, he's not wrong. There is a translation, the AMP translation. It says the creatures of the
I
desert
don't
will
follow
encounter
that.
jackals, and the hairy goat will call to its kind. Indeed, Lilith, night demon, will
Right.
settle there and
Cool.
find herself a place of rest. That's
I don't
crazy.
call to that Bible. We
Yeah, I
always
don't
talk
either.
about the King
Yeah.
James.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what we read. I said it's not in the King James.
Oh,
That's
now
what I
you
meant.
bring the King James.
Nah, you said it's not in the Bible.
That's
And
right.
that's the same. It's not. I don't know
Why
what
would
that
they
book
even
is.
put that in there? Like, I have to see the
know,
reason
that's-
why
You
they
know-
would even put Lilith in there.
No better than that, man. You're wrong, man. You take them damn bombs back.
I got my
And this is what you call a liar and a deceiver. That's the whole difference with a liar and a deceiver.
That's cold, Apostle.
Yes, sir.
You made it like I picked it up. I read it.
No. You just used the wrong source, brother.
Well,
like you did yesterday. I told you about what the thing said. He even told you about Lunar 12. That's when it first happened. You read the source based on Apollo 12, not Apollo 17.
No, I read a newer source that said that was a mistake.
No. You read it based on Apollo 12.
I'm going to look it up again, and we're going to do that
Yeah,
again.
do that. But you read it based on Apollo 12.
So
I'm not saying it's true. I never said it's true. I just said NASA said it.
All right, brothers, it's been a pleasure. It's been good. Ausar, are you there?
Enjoy that, Raku.
I will.
Are you there?
Enjoy that computer, man. You make me want to have one.
Hold on.
I hear me,
but I'm here.
All right. I need you to close us out, Ausar, because you opened up. This is show close out.
Let's close it out. Let's say a prayer. No, we man, I thank everybody for listening. I had a lot going on over here. Otherwise, I got even more detailed and really deep into this. Like I said, science is one of our tools, and we definitely need to use it. But when you find one method, you have to compare it to the others to make a strong hypothesis. And in this case, we find the other team not using or looking at the other hypothesis that sit on the table. So it's not that I don't believe in evolution. I've touted it before I ever heard them ever do a show. I didn't know them. But what I want them to do is to correct methods, make sure you do full research, and don't get howdy and all pumped up about yourself. You need to do some learning before you actually know. None of them carry certificates. Certificates are the easiest thing to get, which tells me they're not doing their full due diligence. So as you guys look into science, dig deeper and never stop digging. Imitap, Ankwas the Jeb made it nature keep y'all. All right, big brother Sa.
Hey, Brother Sa, excellent presentation. I enjoyed it 100%.
Yo, listen to the Sa. Listen to Doctoral. We're going to be on in a minute with the news channel, and I'm going to be on with the art.